Respectable.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go in there looking disheveled, you probably might even get more respect.
Yeah, I'd go up like several points on ratemyprofessor.com.
Yeah.
Perhaps I could get one of those little chili peppers next to my name.
Do you actually check that out?
No, I did when I first started this gig, because I wanted to kind of see if I was being too easy. Because they rate, on Rate My Professor, I guess I should probably be like trying to charge them for the spiff, but college students can go on there and rate their professors on a variety of metrics, and one of those is how easy the professor is. And so I kind of wanted to go in there and make sure that I wasn't being too
And were you?
easy. A little bit, yeah.
So did you toughen up because of that?
I had to make some adjustments.
See, that's an actual usage of a resource like that where it benefits your teaching, probably.
It turned out that it was believed that it was not necessary to do the readings, that you could just get it all from the lectures. So I put in some reading quizzes as a result of that information.
All right.
So now do they despise you?
I think I get just the right amount of discorn. Discorn. Wow. Hey, new
Discorn?
word. Yes.
We do that all the time.
Yeah, I think I've got it, but I haven't checked. Like I said, I haven't checked in several years. I should probably go back there and just make sure that I haven't, gone back to my evil ways.
So today we're going to kind of inadvertently concentrate on probably the center of the universe when it comes right down to it, Albany.
Pretty much, yes.
The
Albany,
center
Oregon.
of Oregon.
I jokingly proposed that, and in fact, I actually started that petition thing you can do where if you get 100,000 signatures, the president has to address your concern. I actually started one of those to request that the president call upon Congress to start a Swindler's Hall of Fame located in Albany, Oregon, because because the town had so many wonderful characters. Of which I've got, like, the two best are Maud Myrtle Wagnon Johnson, who was actually an Albany native, and she was known as the Queen of Fakers in the first decade of the 20th century, like 1909-ish. And what she would do is she was an actress is what she was, and she had this particular set of talents in that she could dislocate her ankle pain-free at will. She had a slightly misshapen chest which she could pose to make it look like she'd been run over by a truck or something. She could bite down on her gums real hard and make them bleed. And she also was very skilled in the use of fake teeth and fake blood, which she could spout upon request. So what she did is with a group of her friends, she went to, I guess they were friends, they were certainly business associates. She went to an orphanage and adopted a foundling baby, like a little tiny one. And what she would do is she would go places on the train and there would be a slight lurch and then a horrible, horrible accident would ensue involving Maud Johnson lying in a twisted, bloody heap on the floor, triumphantly holding the baby up out of harm's way. And then, the railroad would get very interested in trying to settle with her before more symptoms manifested. You know how it like if you ever get run into by somebody who's insured, their insurance company calls you up and says, "Hey, here's $1,000. Could you sign this paper that says that this is all you weren't hurt and everything's cool?" That way, if you decide, if some lawyer gets hold of you later on and has you claim that your back was injured or something like that, you'll be SOL. So here's $1,000, sign this paper. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Well, okay, so they would do that. They would hurry up to her and be trying to settle, so that there wouldn't be a lawsuit. Meanwhile, she's still acting, right? This twisted wreck on the floor. Sometimes she would actually call for a minister and a lawyer so that she could write out her will while she's lying there.
How often did she do this?
She did it often enough that the claims agents of the Pacific Coast Railroads actually formed an organization, like a professional organization networking group, to exchange information about her with the specific goal of getting her arrested. Because what she would do is after she got paid, she was gone like a puff of smoke in the wind. And so this is like miracle cure, right? Just apply instant cure, just add, $800 or so. and she's, she'd be like lying in a hotel bed looking faint and wan, and then they would give her some money, and then she would ask them to run an errand for her because she was so faint and wan. And when she would come back, they would be like, "Oh, yeah, she hopped out of bed, made a phone call, and somebody pulled up with a buggy, and she's out of here." So, yeah, it was really obvious when they had been scammed this way. So they got pretty upset about it and that was how she was finally busted, is they were exchanging information through the Pacific Claims Agents Association, or whatever the thing was called. And she actually was arrested, and there was a big trial in, I want to say 1909, maybe 1910, in Vancouver, Washington. And it was like a reunion for all of these claims agents. They all came to town. They're trading stories, reminiscing.
Remember the time that she bit her gums and bled? Oh, that was a great one. Yeah.
It was.
Oh, we're gonna miss her.
She was apparently pretty amazing, and so she went off to prison, and served for a 5-year term, and she apparently was pretty good because she was pardoned out after 2 years, but she wasn't entirely good because at one point she actually busted out and was on the lam for a little while.
Yeah. I feel like part of the story they would find the baby out back smoking a cigar.
Yes,
talking.
like it was Babyface Finster from the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Good knowledge on the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I
Wow.
would of course remember a name like Babyface Finster.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the baby. I'm glad you brought that up because people always want to know what happened to the baby, and the only thing I know about it is that, or him or her, is that the Oregonians said that a family member took the baby when she went into prison, so that she had wanted to keep the baby, but it wasn't
let her.
possible. They wouldn't let her, so she had to give the baby to like her aunt or something like that.
What a way to start your world.
I guess, yeah. I wish I could know a little bit more about the who the baby was, yeah, because what
Who
a
did
story.
or he become?
Yeah,
Probably a politician.
very
Ran
very
for office.
good chance. that
Pretty close
early
to Salem.
What
that
about-
early training,
Do we know
Get
what
him started
happened to
young.
her, though? I mean, she got out of prison.
Well-
Did she become a grifter somewhere else, wander off, and...
And that is a great question, and I'm glad you mentioned it because her early story is so interesting that sometimes it's easy to forget about this part. She kind of disappears. She apparently went straight, and she was an actress, obviously, of some talent.
Oh, sure.
So she went on vaudeville, and she was in a minstrel troupe in 1920 that disbanded suddenly, leaving her with no money. So she kited a bunch of checks and was arrested for that. But as far as I've been able to learn, there weren't any additional shakedowns, I guess you could say. She seems to have gone more or less straight. But there's a public historian, actually he's a graduate student at Eastern Washington University named Logan. Oh darn it, I'm blanking his last name. No, I'm not going to guess. It's Logan. Anyway,
Finster.
At Eastern Washington University. And he actually is where I found out about this story because he was looking through prison records and found this directory of escaped prisoners that the public was advised to be on the lookout for. And there's all these like tough-looking mugs with, tats and stuff. And then there's this reasonably attractive, 30-something woman. And he's like, well, that's very interesting. So he starts looking into it, digs up all of this stuff, posts a blog post. I run across the blog post, dig into the old archive newspapers, and I'm like, this is great stuff right here. But he just contacted me the other day because he found my post that was inspired by his post and was like, do you know anything more about what happened to her after 1920? And so, I don't know, maybe there's somebody out there listening who actually knows. That her name was Maud Myrtle Wagnon. She grew up in Albany. She was
Wagnon?
Wagnon, yeah. And then she got married and it became Maud Myrtle Wagnon Johnson. But she grew up in Albany on a farm, and then her mother died and her father gave her to a convent, apparently, and went off to Portland and became a police officer, which seems kind of ironic. But she was apparently something of a hellion at the convent. She sued a fellow when she was 14 for seduction under promise of marriage. And then, when she was 16, she ran away with a guy. And then I suppose that the nuns were probably happy to not have to worry about her anymore. But that was basically when she started her reign of terror, her career, swindling the railroads out of lots and lots of money.
I'm just amazed that you could just give a kid away. It's just like, oh, here.
And then to go be a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, it's funny about the history about like sort of underworld characters and less, like, Senator John H. Mitchell, or actually his real name was John Mitchell Hipple, but only U.S. senator to ever serve under an AKA, I'm pretty sure. But we know lots about him because he was a big deal. But lots of these sort of like more obscure characters, we just sort of have to like read between the lines based on police reports and things that the neighbors say when everything goes horribly wrong. And there's always so much left that you just have to wonder about, what happened to this person? How do you make money with a talent like this on, the other thing she was able to do, by the way, was dilate one of her pupils. Right, so she could like make one of them open up really big and the other one really tiny, which most physicians would take one look at that and say, oh my gosh, we have brain swelling, this patient is about to die,
She was brilliant.
Yeah, but and where do you pick up talents like that?
Yeah.
I'm just jealous, that's my problem.
She could have made a fortune in a freak circus and done it legally.
And maybe she did, but they didn't write articles about freak circus people. And
See the woman with the single dilated eye.
We're going to take a break. More with Finn John coming up. Stand by 644 on 1120 KPNW.
There was a time when our biggest export on the South Coast was our people. Mills were closing, ports were quiet, jobs were scarce. Caddy McEwen rolled up her sleeves and worked with her neighbors to make things better. On the school board, Caddy worked to balance budgets fairly and make sure our kids got a quality education. On the Port Commission, Caddy McEwen helped lead efforts to rebuild our infrastructure, like the Coos Bay Rail Line, so we could develop our economy. Thanks in large part to Caddy McEwen's leadership, 1.5 million tons of cargo move through the port every year. And we're adding new high-wage marine jobs that can support a family. In the State House, Caddy McEwen keeps leading, investing in job training programs, helping create the Oregon Promise to make community college free for deserving students, and standing up for seniors with tougher laws to crack down on fraud and abuse. State Representative Caddy McEwen, she's always working for us.
Paid for by Caddy McEwen for representative.
Your pharmacy says you give flu shots here?
Yes, that's right.
I'm only getting it because my wife says I have to.
Well, you have a very smart wife.
I know. She never lets me forget that. Is it going to hurt?
Oh, you may feel a little something.
Before this, I didn't get a flu shot because I thought I'd get the flu.
Well, that's really an old wives' tale. It used to happen when the shot contained live virus, but it's pretty much synthetic.
Look, can we just get this over with?
Well, I just want to tell you that you should be very proud of yourself by getting a flu shot.
Yeah, she says I got to have that.
Well, you're helping us prevent the spread of disease, and that's really community-minded.
Enough with the small talk. Just do it.
All right, first off, you have to stand up and pull up your pants. You are mooning everyone behind you.
Oh, it doesn't go in my...
No, it does not.
Sorry about that, folks.
Actually, I don't mind that much.
This message is brought to you by Ears, because the Eugene area radio stations believe that supporting a healthy community makes a strong community.
When you're celebrating 50 years of America's music, everybody shows up.
Let's do it. Come on.
The 50th CMA Awards on ABC with performances by Keith Urban, Miranda Lambert, Luke Bryan, plus an epic duet with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, a show-stopping tribute to Dolly Parton, and be there for the first 8 minutes when we make country music history.
Are you guys ready?
Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood host the CMA Awards live Wednesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, I am tracking a few pockets of patchy dense fog off and on out there, as well as a few spots of light misty drizzle, but otherwise partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. As we move into the afternoon hours, we're going to see partly cloudy skies, maybe becoming mostly sunny as a pocket of high pressure slides up from California. That's going to help the highs climb back into the upper 50s to low 60s with winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. We're actually looking at a drying pattern over the next few days. I am tracking a storm system set to bring showers and clouds back to the region Wednesday night, but then Thursday and Friday look pretty good with mostly sunny skies before another wet system arrives for your weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Wayne County, Oregon, and the nation.
Hear it here every day on the Wake Up Call. Holloway in London and News Radio 1120 KPNW.
6:48, 12 away from 7 o'clock with Finn John, offbeatoregon.com in studio. Always get great feedback after we have him in, and I'm sure after Maud Myrtle, the trend continues. Now, you were talking about another person with a tie to Albany. Today, it's a salute to the ALB. How about a mic?
Choose my words carefully on this one because it would be awfully easy to
offend.
Well, yeah,
some of the students.
I mean, it's not going to get the FCC down on you guys, but it definitely this is the kind of thing that one does not want to wake up in the morning with this mental picture. But I'll try
most people.
Yeah,
there's some that probably wouldn't mind it.
I'll try and kind of be as clear as I can be without just grossing everybody out before you've had your coffee. But the guy's name supposedly was Edward F. Lee. And I suspect that that may not have been his real name because that was also the name of a well-respected industrialist up in the Puget Sound area. And I think he may have adopted that name to try and get everybody to trust him. But he was a small-time huckster using the mails. And he didn't start out in Albany, actually. He started out up in Washington State. And he started out it was pretty mild. You'd see his classified ads in the newspapers, the Portland Oregonian. They would say things like, $8 every day selling orangeade powder, the new drink. It's the craze. Everybody buys. Sample package, 10 cents, makes a gallon. Send today. Edward F. Lee, Kennewick, Washington. And I mean, 10 cents was a lot of money to pay in 1915 for a packet of Kool-Aid powder, right? But it's not against the law to charge high prices, so that was probably okay. But he was doing something else. I don't know what it was. I haven't been able to learn, but he got, I guess I could learn if I went to up to Pierce County or wherever it was that he was indicted and prosecuted. But he was indicted and prosecuted for mail fraud. So after that, he moved down to Oregon, and then we started seeing these advertisements, not in the local papers, but in national publications. And the ads said something along the lines of, "Men of all ages, stop growing old." Actually, I'm quoting from one right now. "You can recover and retain your youthful vigor and vitality without dangerous drugs and appliances. Our new method tells how. Send for free letter. The P. Presto Company, Albany, Oregon." Well, okay.
What kind of appliances might he have been referring to?
Electric belts, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those belts that you were supposed to put on and they were supposed to zap your reproductive apparatus back to life after it has. But of course, they would advertise those things as being for all sorts of other stuff, right? Catarrh and dropsy and whatever else you might have. Oh, and by the way, it also works for erectile dysfunction too.
A genital taser, nice.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, so those appliances, and then of course there were drugs, which people basically would just mix up anything that seemed like it ought to work. Laudanum, whiskey, hot pepper, and just be like, here you go.
I just don't see how laudanum and whiskey would actually help in that particular endeavor.
Well, have you tried it?
Whiskey?
Yeah, a couple of times.
And
my laudanum dealer got busted last
week. You know what laudanum
is? I'm on the wagon.
Laudanum is about the purest form of opium that you can get.
Yeah, it's like drinkable opium.
Right.
It's like if you don't want to be troubled with having to go to one of those dens of iniquity and smoke the stuff, by golly, you can buy a bottle of it and drink it. At least you can if it's $18.95.
Right.
Yeah, but it was a popular thing that they would put in those patent remedies because, of course, it would have a direct impact. You would notice if you chugged a half an ounce of laudanum, you noticed something happening to you, and you're like, "Well, that's big medicine, all right." So, and of course, whiskey. The effects of the beneficial effects of whiskey are well known. But yeah, they put stuff like that in there just to make it look like it was therapeutically effective when it wasn't. So, and there was lots of money to be made in doing this for people, guys who had erectile dysfunction issues because they didn't want anybody to know. So you could take them to the cleaners. They would give you all kinds of money, and then they would just disappear because they didn't want to sue you. They didn't want to be in court saying, "Yeah, I gave this guy all this money for, an erectile dysfunction formula, and he scammed me." No. So it was very lucrative scamming these guys because you could generally
get away with
it. And so what Edward F. Lee did with this was apparently deciding that it was too expensive to buy the laudanum and whiskey and cayenne pepper to mix up some kind of crackpot formula. He just wrote up what he called a copyrighted method. And so he put that ad out there, right? You would respond to the ad if you needed his assistance, and he would send a form letter back after that, describing the benefits of his remedy in much blunter language. It's skipping that because by that time, if you've responded to this message, we can talk turkey, right? We know what your real ailment is. It's not dropsy. It's this other thing. So this letter would say, "Safe and sane and scientific, it is what every young, middle-aged, or old man should know, as our system will enlarge, lengthen, and strengthen the organs, making the weak strong and the strong stronger, and bring back the firmness of youth unlike any other method." And boy, if that isn't tiptoeing around the subject just a little bit. But it then announced that the price of the treatment was $2, but the patient only needed to send half the money up front, and if not 100% satisfied, it would come with a bill, but if you're not 100% satisfied, don't pay the other half of the $2. Well, Lee did not expect to see any of those second dollars because what they got from him was basically instructions on how to give oneself a massage. A very specific massage, a very anatomically specific massage, involving both the reproductive apparatus and the prostate gland, and also Vaseline or mild oil. And that's probably as much as I can say on the air about what...
And you probably had to supply the oil.
Oh, yeah, no, he wasn't going to send you that.
Nothing supplied on his behalf.
No, yeah, so that was basically, he sent instructions for how to do that.
Any word on how much he made off this scam?
I was not able to find out, and I don't think he told anybody. But that's not what got him busted. He was running this scam just fine out of Albany for a while. But then what he decided to do was to start scamming women with fake birth control products.
Ooh.
Now, a guy with ED is going to be too embarrassed in 1915, too embarrassed to share information about somebody who has scammed him. A woman who's been scammed with a fake birth control product. Now, this was in the age when birth control was illegal. She's not going to keep her mouth shut. And they didn't. And so pretty soon he found himself in 1919 facing federal charges of misuse of the mails. And he got the book thrown at him, but the book in this case was only 18 months. And after his release, I have no idea what happened to him.
And when you say mails, you mean M-A-I-L-S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, I probably should have meant both, because that definitely his copyrighted method definitely seems self-abusive. But yeah, after his prison sentence, he disappears. And unlike Maud Myrtle Wagnon Johnson, I am pretty sure that Edward F. Lee disappeared into a new scam somewhere else under a different name, because he seems like the kind of guy that would.
Well, I like your idea of the Swindlers Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And there would be two entries there with the ALB tie-in.
Yes.
Anything else to promote Offbeat Org? We have just under a minute.
Oh, not really. Although, if you want, if anybody wants to actually read about the about the copyrighted method. Brace yourself, and you just have to do basically a Google search for Offbeat Oregon Viagra spammer, and it will come right up, because that's the title of the article that I wrote about it. Oregon's first Viagra spammer, fake Viagra spammer, or something like that.
And if you have any information about Maud Myrtle, there's contact information on the website. Help Finn John out, get even more information.
Yeah, Finn at finnjohn.com.
All right. Hey, thanks so much. OffbeatOregon.com. It's Finn John on the Wake Up Call. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't forget, a little bit of sunshine out there right now. 50 degrees at KPNW.
When you donate a new toy to Sleep Train Foster Kids, you're giving a lot more than a toy.
That's right. Way, way more.
To a foster child in need, it's a reminder that someone out there is thinking of them, that people care.
It's a chance to play, to explore new places, make new friends, and just be a kid.
To help, Sleep Train is collecting toys for infants, kids, and teens. Your Secret Santa gift will continue giving long after the holidays have ended.
It's a chance to learn, to laugh, to feel loved.
Help keep the spirit of the holidays alive by bringing your gift of unwrapped toys and games to any Sleep Train location, or donate online at sleeptrain.com.
Santa!
Sleep Train Foster Kids is a program of the Ticket to Dream Foundation.
Not everyone could be a foster parent, but anyone can help a foster child.
Become a Secret Santa for a foster child. Bring new, unwrapped toys and gifts to Sleep Train. Donate at any Sleep Train store or online at sleeptrain.com today.
We know Kathy Lamberg. She's been part of our community for over 50 years. The mother of 2 Iraq War veterans, Kathy Lamberg wants to improve services for veterans, including access to health care. A local educator, Kathy Lamberg, will work to ensure that every child receives the education they deserve, regardless of where they live. Vote for the leader we know and trust to represent us. Vote Kathy Lamberg for state representative.
Hi, I'm Kathy Lambert. I'd be honored to represent you in Salem. Together we can improve Oregon's schools and grow our economy.
Hunting season is starting up, and Oak Grove Guns has what you need to make your hunt successful with a wide selection of shotguns, scopes, laser sights, and ammo. And if you need protection, now's the time to swing by and see Dave and Nick. They have an overstock of used handguns, all in good condition, and now every used handgun is being discounted by $25. Oak Grove Guns is the local family-owned gun and protection shop that can help you find the product that suits your needs. Oak Grove Guns, proud to supply products to responsible gun owners.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. There were no kids on the school bus, but people were on the commuter bus it crashed into this morning in Baltimore. A deadly collision. Fox's Rachel Sutherland has more live.
Dave, 6 people are dead, and that number could rise after the school bus and commuter bus crashed during morning rush in Baltimore. The school bus was on the way to pick up a child when police believe the driver hit a car and then a pillar, and then continued on into oncoming traffic, striking the commuter bus. Baltimore police spokesman T.J. Smith.
Was there a medical emergency? The medical examiner will be able to make that determination to see if a medical emergency preceded the incident.
The driver of that school bus was killed. 5 people died on the commuter bus. Several people are in the hospital. Dave.
Rachel, 2 kids and an adult are dead after a nightmare on Halloween in Chunky, Mississippi. A pickup truck rear-ended a hayride full of trick-or-treaters. 2 kids and an adult, all related, were killed. Several others injured. A week before Election Day, the FBI keeps looking into emails found on Anthony Weiner's computer. He's the estranged husband of Clinton aide Uma Abedin. At issue if those emails shed new light in the probe into Hillary Clinton's private server.
Abedin is notorious for never being more than a few feet away from her boss. But ever since this story broke, she's been noticeably absent, even as the campaign enters its final full week. Yesterday, Clinton campaigned without her in the battleground state of Ohio, and Clinton repeatedly said that the FBI has no case.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. Clinton will campaign in Florida. Donald Trump will rally in House Speaker Paul Ryan's home state, Wisconsin. Ryan says he's already early voted for Trump.
A unified Republican government can fix our big country's problems. A Hillary Clinton government will not fix our problems, and you'll just have scandal and baggage coming into the White House.
This morning, Trump will rail against Obamacare in Pennsylvania as open enrollment begins. Bill Cosby's in court in Pennsylvania for a pre-trial hearing. Prosecutors are trying to get the judge to let 13 other women be able to testify in the case against Cosby. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Check out this new app I just got. It's called Ask Washington.
Ask Washington? Like Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. You tap here and then ask. Like this. Hey, Washington, how can I afford a college education that'll help me get a good job?
I think you said you'd like to abolish the Department of Education. Is that right?
What? No, that's crazy.
Here, let me try. Hey, Washington, can we do something about the price of prescription drugs?
I think you said you'd like restrictions on women's health care. Is that right?
Are you kidding me?
Sometimes, it seems like politicians in Washington just can't get it right. But Ron Wyden's different. He holds town meetings in every county, every year, so nothing gets lost in translation. That's why he's working to stop tuition hikes, get better job training, and hold drug companies accountable. Ron Wyden listens, and he'll never stop working for you.
I'm Ron Wyden, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Wyden for Senate.
On Wall Street, we're seeing the Dow down a little bit in early trading. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Right now, after 3 months of straight selling for the Dow, we started off with a little bit of an up arrow, but now it has just turned into the red. In fact, the Dow is down 7 points at 18,134. The Nasdaq down 1 point, and the S&P 500 1 point to the downside, hugging that unchanged line, waiting on more news, waiting on the Fed, find out anything about rates this week, as well as jobs report on Friday. Some of the movers: Chipotle hits a new 3.5-year low, roughly. Pfizer coming under pressure after discontinuing a cholesterol drug. And Victoria's Secret parent L Brand seeing slowing sales. That's down 7.5%. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. The price of oil is hardly moving either. It's still under $47 a barrel. Gas is down slightly. AAA's national average for regulars under $2.21 a gallon this morning. But in New Jersey, there's a price spike because effective today, the state's gas tax is 23 cents per gallon higher. An increase meant to help pay for roads and bridges and other transportation costs.
I was at the gas station last night filling up.
I'm not too happy, but it's the cost.
New Jersey used to have the second lowest gas tax in America. Now it has the 6th highest. In the southeast, a key gas pipeline's been shut down for the second time in 2 months. This after construction equipment hit it, causing an explosion that killed a worker and injured 6 others.
A September leak spilled more than 300,000 gallons of gasoline not far from where Monday's explosion happened. That prompted dry pumps and higher prices in Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, as well as North and South Carolina.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The World Series is back on tonight, Game 6.
The Indians, one win from their first title in 68 years, turned to Game 3 winning pitcher Josh Tomlin, while the Cubbies countered with Jake Arrieta, who took a no-hitter into the 6th inning of the Cubs' victory in Game 2.
That's Jared Max in Cleveland. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
All right, 7:05 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Hi, welcome to the first day of November, if you can believe it. Clouds and sun mix today, 60 for the temperature high, currently 51 at 1120 KPNW. I see this story, I'm thinking, okay, kind of digging on it. Do I believe it? Not necessarily. There's a new study that's out of Yale University, so it's got to be legitimate. But it's talking about chubbier dads living longer than other men, and perhaps more important to a segment out there, more attractive to women. Apparently, when you lose a little muscle mass and gain a little fat, it actually helps your body shift some of the resources towards your immune system. Women-wise, they're biologically drawn to a dad with a little chubbiness because it's a sign that you're focused on the kids above anything else.
Hey, hey, hey.
Including trying to get with the ladies. You're focused on the kids, and so they're sitting there like, oh, he's such a good dad, and he's not...
I love the way he splashes down in his chair. I love the way his thighs just move like waves against the armrests.
Okay, ladies. Okay, the fellas are going to say, well, yeah. Especially if they're not, working out 10 hours a day. Like, I kind of dig that story. Women-wise, do you think there's any legitimacy to it? Ladies, do you find yourself thinking about the chubby in a different way than you would just seeing?
Yeah, doesn't that show
so
up
you
a
have
lot?
to have the kids, I guess.
You do the Match.com thing. Do you see that a lot in there? Women looking for chubby guys with kids? Is that a big?
Not a big. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Long walks on the beach.
Might be one. It might be something that you don't want to
with
advertise.
a guy that gets winded easily. That's. Yeah.
So you're calling bull on.
I'm pretty much calling
the Yale
bull.
research.
Yes, I'm calling bull on the whole.
1120kpnw@gmail.com. I would tend to agree with that. I think it's one of those things that people like to throw out there and have it be something that people talk about. But when it comes down to seeing it in the real life, not so much. Not so much. But when it comes down to it, if the guy is paying more attention to the kid, isn't that a good thing? Shouldn't that be how it is anyway? I feel like in this day and age where the stories that you see with the guy or the girl, the woman going in to play some video poker and leaving the kid in the car, and that's not thankfully, I feel like that's the exception. But I don't know. We'll see if there's any feedback, yay or nay, from the women on that one. 1120kpnw@gmail.com. News-wise, what do you got for us?
Okay, so the Eugene police are sending extra patrol officers to deal with the park blocks. We'll take a look at that. We'll also look at the elections coming up, in particular the gubernatorial race, and a ballot measure that maybe you haven't thought about very much, because everything else is sort of sucking the air out of the election. But ballot measure 95, are you familiar with 95? We'll tell you about it. Those stories and more coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW.
News time 7:09.
Do you spend much time thinking about meat? Probably just the word meat evokes some sort of picture in your mind. At Burrito Amigos, they spend quite a bit of time dealing with people who want their meat. And they probably have more types of meat prepared in more ways than most fancy sit-down places. Consider Atabata, chili verde pork, nice and spicy, a new personal favorite. Chicken, carne asada, shredded Angus beef. Actually, anything with beef at Burrito Amigos is Angus. It's more tender. There's also carnitas, real cod fillets for fish tacos and burritos, shrimp, tongue, yep, chorizo, link sausage, machaca, tofu, which is meat for people who don't eat meat. And of course, there's the king of meat, bacon, 2 different types. And you can have your favorite type of meat in burritos, tacos, tortas, tostados, or on nachos. You make the call. Burrito Amigos will make it meaty or tofu-y if that's your choice. Variety and making you happy is what it's all about. Burrito Amigos, dare I say, they are the meaty ones. In Eugene and Springfield, I'm Bill London, and I approve of meat and Burrito Amigos.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Oregon's game Megabucks jackpot is over $5 million. Buy yours today.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Local news, local people. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, after a near riot and complaints from citizens who say they feel threatened just walking through downtown Eugene because of outgoing Mayor Kitty Piercy's travelers, Eugene police announced that they are sending more officers to have a bigger presence, particularly in the park blocks.
The criminal conduct in the park had become more entrenched over the summer. And the park was no longer welcoming to everybody. And the goal for our downtown has been to make it safe for everyone, regardless of economic status, housing status. And we had not achieved that. The park did not feel safe to everyone.
Eugene Police Chief Pete Kearns held a press conference Monday afternoon laying out EPD's future enforcement plans.
What we decided to do is to put together a operation where we're putting officers in the park enough so that it can be safe for our officers and so that it can be made to feel safe for anyone who wants to visit the park. And that doesn't exclude anyone. Anyone who wants to visit the park who's willing to be there and obey the law.
The increased presence began yesterday with 4 to 6 officers assigned to the park block area across from the Lane County Courthouse. Now, the officers are in addition to the normally assigned downtown patrol units. So if the group that normally gathers in the park blocks decides they're going to relocate and take over another area, the downtown team will still be able to handle it. Kearns says that the move comes after an increase of criminal behavior in the park and a group of people who have been attempting to intimidate Eugene police officers in the area recently, asking officers why they're in their park and even challenging officers to fight.
A week ago, we had an incident in the park where officers attempted to make an arrest when they observed a drug transaction. And one of those arrests led to a fight where a subject was taken into custody, captured on video, and people engaged in riotous type of behavior.
Kearns said the focus is to ensure that everyone can feel welcome and safe and kumbaya.
We're not there to displace people, but we are there to ensure that folks are not intimidated by the behavior of others, and so they can feel safe, and also to enforce the law if necessary.
The chief is especially concerned about the young people who are living on the streets and will use the increased presence to offer them help, including mental health services through Cahoots and other social services. Speaking of the homeless, a transient is facing charges after allegedly stealing from a public memorial. Springfield police arrested Travis Clausen, a 35-year-old, Sunday after he was seen running into traffic away from a memorial on 54th and Main Streets. The memorial is for 3 children that were hit and killed by a vehicle at the intersection in February of last year. Clausen was confronted by citizens who witnessed him throwing rocks at the memorial and stealing money and a teddy bear. A woman also accuses Clausen of threatening and menacing her when she confronted him. Clausen was taken to the Springfield Municipal Jail on charges of abuse of a memorial to the dead, menacing, theft, and disorderly conduct. He was also arrested in 2015 when he disrupted a candlelight vigil at the memorial. Rental bikes are coming to Eugene under a $1.2 million contract between the city and the New York-based company Social Bicycles. The city's going to buy the bikes, customized walking bike racks, and other items from the rental company. In return, Social Bicycles will run the rental system and keep the bikes maintained for 5 years. Eugene secured a state subsidy that'll pay for most of the equipment, including the bikes, which cost $1,807 each. The program is scheduled to start October of 2017 with 300 bikes and 35 stations. People can rent the bikes for short trips and return them to the self-service stations, according to Reed Dunbar, the city's associate transportation planner. Local businesses have already begun calling the city and asking for bike stations to be placed near them. Rental rates will be set by Social Bicycles. The company says it hasn't yet determined a price for the Eugene system. Portland launched a similar program called Bike Town in July, and it also contracts with Social Bicycles. Lane County Elections and Municipal Television created a brief video to show Lane County voters how their ballots are verified and processed after their return to the elections office.
How do we, verify that ballot is correct as far as ensuring that it's a registered Lane County voter and that they filled it out correctly, and then how do we actually count that ballot? How do we ensure that every voter's votes are counted in the process?
Devin Ashbridge with Lane County says the video's online.
The easiest way to find it is youtube.com/Lane County Government. They can also see it on our Facebook at facebook.com/Lane County Government.
Ballots, by the way, need to be in by 8 p.m. next Tuesday night. A Lane County Jail inmate serving time for burglary has now been sentenced to an additional 5 years for his role in stabbing another inmate. 22-year-old Cody Britton of Springfield was sentenced after pleading guilty to felony charges of weapon possession by an inmate and assault. An attempted murder charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. Authorities say Britton and another inmate used plastic toothbrush holders that had been sharpened to stab the 24-year-old victim, who suffered multiple cuts but was not seriously injured. Britton apologized in court for the attack, saying he made a bad decision. The leader of a federal wildlife refuge takeover in Oregon says his group will continue to stand after he and 6 others were acquitted last week of charges in the case. Ammon Bundy, in a phone call from the Multnomah County Detention Center, said that it was their duty to stand. Bundy says they did it peacefully and legally, and the jury's verdicts confirm that. Bundy also said the trial ended in another example of the government not following its own laws when U.S. Marshals arrested his attorney for challenging the judge's order to keep Bundy in custody. He called the prosecutors to drop charges against other occupiers set for February trial on the same conspiracy charge. Bundy remains in jail because he faces charges in the standoff at his father's Nevada ranch. Bundy says he expects he and his brother Ryan are going to be moved to Nevada today. A 2-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl were shot by their father. Yesterday, just after 8 a.m., 27-year-old Zach Davis called 911, telling dispatchers he was hunting in the area of Green Peter Dam east of Sweet Home when he accidentally fired his gun into his truck.
Coming back to the pickup, and when he was real close to the pickup, had an accidental discharge with his .30-30 rifle. The bullet entered the pickup through the driver door. The 3 kids were sitting in the back seat. The bullet struck 2 of the kids in the leg, causing one of them to break, and one of them there was a metal piece of metal in her leg.
Lynn County Undersheriff Jim Yon says medics took the boy by helicopter to Randall's Children's Hospital at Legacy Emmanuel in Portland. He's in fair condition and is expected to survive the injury. The 4-year-old daughter was taken to a Corvallis hospital. She had surgery there to remove a metal fragment, and the investigation into the incident continues.
Generally, a finger has to be on the trigger, and it has to pull. Either you trip, you stumble, and it's just a natural reaction to twitch your finger, which causes that to happen sometimes, or it catches on a piece of clothing, something like that. Guns just don't go off. Something has to set them off. So we're still trying to figure out how that happened.
Davis's father and 6-year-old son were also on the hunting trip. They were not hurt. Well, Oregon's 7 public universities installed independent governing boards over the last few years, but the schools soon discovered their newfound independence only went so far. A 2013 state bill that set universities on the path to independence gave schools the ability to manage their own money, but a provision in the state constitution stands in the way. Oregon's constitution forbids state agencies, including 4-year schools, from investing in, and I'm quoting, the stock of any company, association, or corporation. Independent foundations working with the universities do have that right, but the schools themselves can't invest tuition dollars or state appropriation funds in the stock market and raise even more money for those programs. But Measure 95 on the ballot this fall would change that. Oregon lawmakers voted overwhelmingly earlier this year to refer the proposal to voters. University systems in California, North Dakota, Wyoming, Nevada, and New Mexico have similar abilities. No one has filed an official argument opposing the measure. The University of Oregon would like to invest about $50 million from their $400 million in operating funds, according to Jamie Moffitt, Vice President for Finance and Administration. If it's approved, the school would develop and provide quarterly reports to the Board of Trustees at the U of O, outlining the types of investments and amount invested. Moffitt said the U of O will likely contract with the investment staffers at the foundation, which oversees the school's endowment, to manage the account. Well, Election Day is 1 week away, and Oregonians will decide whether Governor Kate Brown will keep the job that she stepped into. Brad Ford has that story.
Governor Kate Brown and her Republican challenger Bud Pierce held 5 debates. Pierce says he's enjoying this part of the campaign.
It's more exhilarating because really most of the hard work is behind you. The issues are there. We've debated them. We've argued them. The voters have their ballots. So it's kind of a fun time right now.
Pierce expects it'll be difficult getting college students to vote for him, but he believes millennials are looking for an option.
The millennials are an interesting group, especially because they don't like tradition, and so I have a good outreach to them.
Governor Kate Brown is running to finish the term of Governor John Kitzhaber, who resigned. Whichever candidate is elected will complete the final 2 years of the term and could run for a full term in 2018. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Thousands of Oregon students are taking advantage of a new state grant waiving community college tuition for low-income students. According to preliminary enrollment figures from state education officials, about 6,000 students statewide are taking community college classes through the Oregon Promise. Officials say that figure is about what they expected for the first-year program. The Oregon Promise program subsidizes community college tuition for students who graduated from an Oregon high school in the spring or the summer with at least a 2.5 cumulative GPA, or they completed their GED this year. Well, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is defending the ordered deportation of a South Korean man who was flown to the U.S. 37 years ago and adopted by an American couple at the age of 3. ICE spokesman Rose Richardson cited Adam Crapser's criminal history as justification for deportation. That includes convictions for assault and being a felon in possession of a weapon. She said Crapser was arrested by ICE on February 8th after he served a 60-day sentence for menacing and attempted coercion. Last week, an immigration judge denied his request for relief from removal. Crapser's adoptive parents never obtained U.S. citizenship for him. Crapser remains confined in an immigration detention center in Tacoma, Washington. Well, the snowpack in 2015 was one of the lowest on record in West Coast states. Brad Ford reports climatologists are looking at the numbers.
The winter of 2014 through 2015 was not typical.
It was exceptionally warm in Oregon, 6.5 degrees warmer than normal.
Phil Mote, director of the Oregon Climate Change Research Institute, says the amount of precipitation was normal. The temperatures were just too warm.
And that prevented the snow from falling down where it usually would.
A blob of warmer than normal water in the Pacific caused temperatures to be warmer than normal. It appears a La Nina may be forming in the Pacific this winter, which could bring cooler than normal conditions and more snow. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Go La Nina. 6:23, or make that 7:23. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
In an announcement from South Eugene High School and Athletic Director Dave Hancock, the South Eugene football team is forfeiting the rest of the season, which equates out to first game of the 6A playoffs. In a press release, Hancock cited not enough players to field a varsity team as the reason. As of yesterday, only 21 varsity players, including 6 linemen, out. Injuries have hit the Axemen program hard, including 4 season-ending. And head coach Kevin Leonard, former Lancer, and his staff did not want to risk further injuries by moving up players that were freshmen and sophomores. They don't have a JV. Defending state champs Jesuit benefits as they become the first team that, advances without even playing a game. All in all, it works out to be about 1 game, probably. NFL, Jay Cutler back in the NFL after injury, and for the Chicago Bears, that's a great thing. Who saw this brewing? 5-1 Minnesota playing 1-6 Chicago. Cutler not exactly sizzling sharp, but doing enough as he threw for 252 yards, a passer rating of 100.5. Cutler and company do in Minnesota 20-10. Another team in Chicago, the Cubs, will be embroiled in the World Series tonight, Game 6 at Cleveland. The Cubbies are down 3-2. Hope to force a Game 7 on the mound for Chicago. Jake Arrieta, Josh Tomlin going at it for the Tribe. And former ESPN 5-star quarterback and Alabama transfer Blake Barnett set to visit Oregon and Pac-12 foe Stanford on November 12th. He was the nation's #1 quarterback coming out of high school, but elected to transfer from Bama as a redshirt freshman after losing the starting spot. And winners in the NBA, Raptors, Clippers, and Hawks. The Warriors in Portland tonight to take on the Portland Trailblazers. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, brought to you by Max Muscle. Don't get sold, get educated. On Franklin across from Market of Choice. News time, 7:26.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. I'm tracking a few pockets of patchy dense fog off and on out there, as well as a few sprinkles on radar, but for the most part, the system has begun to pull away. Otherwise, temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon, we're going to see conditions improve dramatically as a pocket of high pressure moves up from California. That's going to go ahead and clear the skies late in the afternoon. Now, the highs are going to go into the upper 50s to low 60s out there, 57 here in town. The winds are going to stay southwest at 5 to 10 with a few gusts up to 15. We're actually looking at some drying out over the next few days. Now, I do have one exception to that. I've got a storm system that'll move in Wednesday night, bringing isolated showers up and down the coast as well as into the inlet valleys, but that's going to quickly pull away, and by the time we reach Thursday morning, the high pressure rebuilds, giving us a couple of fantastic days, bringing morning fog Thursday and Friday, but clear skies in the afternoons before another major wet system moves in late Friday night to bring you a very wet weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
When you need foundation repairs, turn to the foundation experts at Ramjack West. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Serving Oregon and Washington. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, sponsored by Eugene's #1 electrical contractor, Builders Electric. Through his many writings, Ralph Waldo Emerson gave us so much wonderful advice during his lifetime. And perhaps one of his strongest statements was this one: "Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying." Well, it's just a simple reminder that our behaviors, our tone of voice, and our body language speaks a lot more loudly than the words we speak. No person sends a more confusing message than the one who gives good advice while setting a bad example. So don't forget to pay attention to your non-speaking language. It does communicate about you. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
This Motivational Minute was brought to you by Builders Electric, providing honest, reliable, and positive contracting throughout the Willamette Valley since 1960. That's Builders Electric, CCB number 4296.
You've heard me talk about glutamine and how important it is for your body. It repairs every cell in the human body, giving you overall optimal health. It's odorless, tasteless, and flavorless. Stop by, give it a try. You won't taste a thing. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard in Eugene.
Mid-Lane Truck and Equipment Repair would like to remind you that weather is changing and winter is right around the corner. Getting your vehicle ready requires more than just installing snow tires. Your antifreeze protection needs to be checked, belts and hoses inspected and replaced if needed, and windshield wipers replaced for clear vision ahead. Stop by Mid-Lane Truck and Equipment Repair today to schedule an appointment, and don't let old man winter leave you out in the cold. Call 541-345-7570 or visit midlanetruckequiprepair.com.
Every election year, you hear lots of promises and few guarantees. Lars Larson here to tell you about one guarantee you have right here in Eugene and Lane County. Jeremy Parmenter will sell your home. That's right, Jeremy guarantees to sell your home at a price and a deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it. And Jeremy will sell your home fast. Darbin and Ruby wanted to sell their home and move out of the country. They didn't need the extra stress that comes with selling their home, so they called Jeremy Parmenter. He sold their home in less than 30 days, right on schedule, and got them $10,000 more than any house in that neighborhood. Why would you think of working with any other agent in Eugene or Lane County? And there's no risk. If you want out of the contract, you're out. Call the only agent I recommend in Eugene. Call Jeremy Parmenter at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. Online, OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com. That's OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com.
Local news, local people, Holloway in London, and the wake-up call.
I want you to get up now.
On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
.30 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Have you hit your sugar high yet from raiding your kids' candy or the leftover candy? If you had leftover candy? Last night, I felt like we were sitting there sharing details about, oh, they got full size over there. Full size? Full size candy? Oh. It's like the other side of the...
Did they have full-size Heath bars?
I did not see one Heath bar.
Oh.
I saw the, what is it, $100,000 bar?
Yeah, those are okay.
Which...
They're okay.
A rarity. Nothing great.
Nothing wrong with them.
Boy,
no Heath bars, no Score bars, no...
No. I think, did we talk about this on the air? I don't remember, but VoxSomething.com talked about the top 10 best, and they have Starburst and Jolly Ranchers in there. Like, how does that make the top 10?
What kid goes, oh, yes, more Jolly Ranchers? Yes.
A kid who's probably 56 years old and...
Oh, Nico wafers, yes! Those were like those were the most depressing things to get for Halloween. Nico, what
is that?
Remember the Nico wafers? They were like the round. They look like Lifesavers, kind of, sort of, but they were these little wafers, but they were bigger than a Lifesaver, but thin. And
that sounds horrible.
They were
a wafer
terrible.
that looks like a Lifesaver.
Yeah, they were awful.
Niko?
No, it was I think Necko or Necco.
Yeah,
they were awful.
Rather have Mentos.
Yeah, okay, Mentos were okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Starburst, and
thumbs down.
Went to Buddy's. Is it Buddy's Diner on Coburg? I think it was Buddy's Diner. Sid, if you didn't know, Sid dressed up as the old kind of diner waitress,
like Flo from Alice's Restaurant.
Yeah, the 5.5-year-old version. And we put we had a little tray, had the cup jar with the tips. Yeah, she was styling. I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, how many Wonder Women, how many Supermen, how many of the superheroes did I see? I did not see one waitress, nor have I ever seen in the other under 12 demo the waitress.
No, I've never
definitely
seen
unique.
One either. Yeah, Brady, I think probably the most unique thing Brady ever went as was a paw print.
A paw print?
Mm-hmm.
Where did he get that idea?
From Blue's Clues.
Oh.
He wanted to be a paw print. And so he was a big blue paw print.
Did people get it?
I don't think
probably
so.
The under 4 demo?
Maybe. I don't know. It was a great costume. I love it. There's still a picture at the house in the kitchen of him and his paw print.
What was the other one you were telling me about that they you put time into?
I put time into a number of them. Indiana Jones.
We just talked about it, though.
Oh, are you talking about the Obi-Wan? Where he had the beard?
Yes.
Oh, my God, that was so funny. And my wife did a phenomenal job on his beard using, actual spirit gum and latex and stuff.
How old was he?
5,
5
or 6, yeah. And this was the best part of it. So she spent a good hour and a half, and he was totally into it, making this beard, this full beard for him, and it looked real. It was so well done. I come walking into the house, and Brady's in his underwear, sitting at the table, eating some soup with his beard, and he just turns around just very nonchalantly, it's like, hey, Dad. Like, hey.
Did you know that was going to happen, or is that how you saw it?
That was my first. I mean, because when they were talking about get him a beard, I thought it would just be some lame, go down to a costume shop and get some lame beard. I didn't expect that it was going to be a beard, and it looked real.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, it is hilarious. It just. Him sitting there but it's sitting there in his underwear eating soup with the beard, looked like this little mini, middle-aged guy. It was just hilarious. Like, oh, good, nice. That was a favorite Halloween memory of mine, is walking to the house to see my bearded son eating soup in his shorts.
And now. Could that possibly happen, even though he doesn't have the beard?
Sitting in his underwear eating shorts?
Could he be eating soup?
No, he wouldn't be sitting. He would just be eating it over the sink.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, he's kind of got the batch thing.
And probably still not put it in the sink when he was done.
Likely not.
Yeah.
You would be correct on that.
By the way,
he would be sitting near the sink.
We'll say her name is Andrea. She says that chubby dads, because we were talking about apparently, according to this Yale study, women find chubby dads more attractive because they seem to be into their kids, which I think that would be maybe that's the variable. If they are into their kids and actually paying attention instead of like, oh, hey, yeah, then maybe they would, get some play. And maybe you think, maybe you as a, single woman or just a female as a part of the interaction, maybe you think, well, good chance there's a mom, so I feel like there's no threat. Maybe that's part of it. But anyway, Andrea says less likely to cheat too. Like, well, maybe that's in your situation. Chubby dads more attractive. Of course, chubby dads are like, yeah. Seconds of that story. Make sure that story gets out there. Hey, do we have some tickets to give out?
Oh, we certainly do.
Wait, you had the crew in last Friday.
And they will be in again coming up this week at one point.
So they're making 2 appearances? Oh, we got a big time event out there at Willamette Lane.
They will be in again on next Friday. So, yeah, the Mackenzie...
Wait, not this Friday?
Yeah, this coming Friday.
Okay.
They will be in again this
Friday.
Mm-hmm. So, November 4th and 5th, this is the Mackenzie Cider and Craft Beer Festival. And this is... I can't believe how many people this thing pulls in every year. And it just gets bigger, mainly because they do such a darn fine job. The tickets for a 2-day pass are $15 each. And by golly, look at what if you're watching the stream right now, you are going to be, look at that right there. Oh, yeah.
I want to go.
Extreme close-up. Mm-hmm. So we have a pair of tickets to it that'll get you in both days. And let's see, Friday opens at 5 o'clock, and then doors open at noon on Saturday. And they have family activities on Saturday. 75 craft brewers.
Family activities?
Well, yeah. Of course, you can take the family out there from noon to 5 on Saturday. It's like the casino. You go to the casino, and the casinos have things for kids. I don't know what it is, but they do. Somewhere to dump your children for hours while you go and fritter away their college fund. Anyway, this is completely different, though. 75 craft brewers.
75?
75. Wow. And by the way, the group that is from Sisters that made the Voodoo Hoodoo, what a great IPA. And I don't like IPAs. Anyway, we have a pair of tickets. Would you like to go? You got to be 21 years of age or older to win. 21 or older, and they could be yours. Tell them how they'll win.
All right, so if you can tell us the little button, and I'm touching one right now, the little button on the top of a baseball cap, it actually has a name. First person to identify what the top baseball cap button is called at 541-485-KPNW or 888-KPNW-888. You might even go to this event with a hat that has one of these. What is it? Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Every line lit. Not a one now. KPNW, good morning.
Crown?
It is not the crown. Not the crown. I'll give you a hint yet. Not yet. KPNW, good morning. Hello?
Oh, hey. Sorry, guys.
You got to pay attention here. Do you have a...
Didn't mean to wake you up.
I heard your clue. You said you were looking for the button on the top of the baseball cap, right?
Right. What is it called?
Oh, geez. Is it... Oh, darn it. I can't remember right now. I almost said ingot, but I think that's a shoelace. I'll try again. Sorry.
Okay. Sounds like she was on the right track, kind of, maybe, sort of. KPNW, good morning. What is it called, the little button on the top of a cap?
A squatcho?
You know what? I'm going to take it. What I see here is a squatchy, but a squatcho works for me, too. Maybe that's what, slang term for it.
Maybe that's the plural.
Yeah. What is your name?
This is Frank Travis.
Oh. Another correct answer. Frank, when was the last time you were in the winner's circle here at Wake Up Call? Frank?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
didn't mean to wake you up either.
I'm awake.
All right. Hang on one second. We need some information from you. Frank Travis off to enjoy a number of brews at 7:41.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are a little changed. There's so much for investors to process: the contentious campaign, corporate earnings, and the trajectory of interest rates. Speaking of rates, the Federal Reserve begins its two-day policy meeting today. Yum Brands carved out its China operations into a separate company. Yum China began trading today in New York. Yum's example could provide a roadmap for other global consumer brands in China. Ring-fencing the business offers the KFC owner a number of advantages in dealing with a fast-changing market. General Motors auto sales declined less than analysts predicted in October, a month in which industry-wide sales likely fell in comparison to one of the strongest ones of 2015. GM sales fell 1.7%. Criminals have found an easy workaround for new anti-theft devices in cars. They just wait for you to leave the key inside while you run in to grab a cup of coffee. The number of freebie vehicle thefts in the U.S. climbed 22% in 2015. That's according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
When you're celebrating 50 years of America's music, everybody shows up.
Let's do it. Come on.
The 50th CMA Awards on ABC with performances by Keith Urban, Miranda Lambert, Luke Bryan, plus an epic duet with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, a show-stopping tribute to Dolly Parton, and be there for the first 8 minutes when we make country music history.
Are you guys ready?
Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood host the CMA Awards live Wednesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Marcia Edwards of the Real Estate Today Show. We've been standing next to Mark Brockett of Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division. He is an amazing lender for residential loans.
He has an opportunity to take a look at your situation, identify, but for instance, should you refinance? It could save you a lot of money for a number of years to come. Fantastic.
That's Mark Brockett. Call him today.
You can reach Mark at 541-431-0236. That's Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division at 3007 North Delta, Suite 205.
What happens next happens here on the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Oh man, this election has been so entertaining. We're learning so many things. Like, for instance, there's this thing called the Hatch Act. If you're not familiar with what that is, we're going to kind of run it down for you. So once James Comey came out and said, well, the FBI is taking a look at some of these other emails that we found ancillary to what we were looking at before in Anthony Weiner's stuff, Harry Reid rebuked Comey's investigation and said that he's potentially violating what's known as the Hatch Act, which prevents government officials from using their authority as an influence over elections, something that he believes Comey is doing. To talk about that this morning, political analyst and writer, Opportunity Lives author Israel Ortega joining us on the Wake Up Call. Israel, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you.
As I read about the Hatch Act and look at this to me seems like it would almost be like trying to get a guilty verdict in a conspiracy trial. I mean, it's not one of those things where you can just go, oh man, it is so obvious he is trying to influence the election, we're going to nail him. I mean, it is so vague. I mean,
that's a problem for Democrats trying to push this. And I think the other thing to remember is this is not a criminal statute. That he would be, if Director Comey were found guilty, he'd be reprimanded essentially. And you'd have to prove there would have to be something very convincing, like proof that Director Comey has accepted campaign donations or is funneling campaign donations or something very, very explicit like that. And so I think to me, Senator Reid's letter is more of an attempt to sort of help or try to dissuade voters for paying attention to this. But at the end of the day, I don't think the FBI opens this case unless there's something there.
Okay, but when you say you don't think they open the case unless there's something there, I mean, could it be nothing more than, some extra emails? But, I mean, if they don't have confidential on them, is it going to make that much difference?
Well, it could. I mean, I think, there's, as we're learning now, there's been a lot of back and forth internally. The FBI, there are people who have different opinions about how to handle this. But, that we're talking about 650,000 emails that have to go through. I think that something must have come up last week in their initial investigation that said we have to reopen this case. I don't think Director Comey goes out here and puts himself out there again in the court of public opinion unless there was something. Well, we're going to find out, obviously. It may not be before the election day, and I think that's what worries Democrats and Secretary Clinton.
Does it surprise you at all, though, that the FBI knew about the existence of these emails for quite a while, and then Comey says he didn't know anything about them until last Thursday?
Yeah, that's obviously very disturbing, and unfortunately, what this goes to again is the fact that the American people don't have a lot of trust in government. I mean, you look at the polls. 30% of the American people have faith in public institutions and the government. So things like this, just add fuel to the fire, and I think that's a problem for. Any politician, whoever the next president is, they're going to have to fight this and somehow figure out a way to convince American people that our government can still run and work efficiently.
What kind of effect right now on the polling data is this having in swing states?
Right. Well, there's very little independents and moderates that are left, but the places where I think this counts are places in Florida. Places like Ohio could make a difference. It's been this weekend. The story broke on Friday, so a lot of the public opinion polls haven't captured a lot of this. There is a new ABC poll that has Donald Trump up by 1, but as you know, this election will be decided by the Electoral College, and so I think to me it's going to be tough for Donald Trump to make much of it, but this could help Republicans in some key Senate races. That's where I think this can make a difference.
All right. Israel, we appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
You take care. Israel Ortega, he's a political analyst and writer on the Wake Up Call, News Radio, 1120 KPNW. People have lost trust. Really, if you think about it, and I think we've talked about this before. If you think about it, society really, the structure of society, the foundation of society is all based on trust. All of it. Everything. Everything about society is based on trust. Whether it's you get on a bus and you trust that the bus driver isn't drunk. You trust that when you go down to the grocery store and you get a pound of hamburger, it's not, it doesn't have, the listeria virus living in it. You trust if you send your kid to a public school that your child is not going to be abused in one form or another by the teacher. You trust that when you elect somebody as your prospective leader, that he or she is going to act in an ethical way and act on behalf of everyone. You trust that the police officer that's out there patrolling the streets isn't on the take. All of these things you trust. And as we kind of roll along, that trust, all those things that you just trust and take for granted are just completely just crumbling. And part of it maybe is because of media over coverage. And part of it is just because as a society, we've become so relative in our ethics that it just, to those folks that are in office, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, they know they can get away with it. Look at Hillary. She knows that regardless of what she does, she's going to get away with it. You know, Trump believes, regardless of what he says and when he said it, that nobody's going to care. He's going to be able to say, I mean, you just look at it and go, did these people kind of not read the memo? Did they not read those memos that say, you know, you are supposed to be
accountable,
accountable, and on just a little bit higher plane in terms of expectations?
Why should they read it though?
Well, anymore.
Why should they have to be accountable and get in line? I don't
anymore.
They think
apparently it's not accepted, or I wouldn't say it's not accepted. I would say that you know, people have now gotten this expectation of, yeah, they're all crooked, as opposed to trying to hold them to a higher standard. I mean, we really have become the world's very first world superpower banana republic. Just look at it and go, this is like, reminds me of Antigua back in the 80s. Like, everybody knows the prime minister of Antigua is on the take. He's accepting money from every country on the planet, that he's selling out, you know, all the Antiguan people so that he can make money on real estate from the Germans and the French and the Norwegians. I mean, selling everybody, all of the folks that live on the island, totally selling them out to pad his bank account. And everybody's like, oh, well, yeah, but, you know, he's our prime minister. Like, really? Continue to vote for him? Anyway, 7:53 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Dan's Outdoors in Springfield focuses on steelhead, salmon, trout, and kokanee. So if you're serious about fishing, Dan's Outdoors is the place. They feature live bait like sand shrimp, worms, and even custom cured roe. They even have blue and green label herring, sardines, and anchovies. Dan's also carries a full line of clear drift products, all kokanee kid gear, and much more. You can even get your fish and game licenses, rod and reel repair, line spooling, and pre-tied leaders. Check out Dan's Outdoors, 2787 Olympic Street, Suite 6, from 9 to 6 weekdays, 9 to 4 on Saturday, and on Facebook, Dan's with a Z.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. As the election draws near, the markets are getting more volatile. Frankly, not only is it impossible to guess the outcome of the election, it's also impossible to guess the market's reaction to the results. There's lots of possibilities, including a sharp sell-off, nothing, or a melt-up rally, regardless of who gets elected. But in any case, stocks and bonds are not cheap, at least not by historic standards. So if you're fully invested in your retirement plan, variable annuity, or regular account, including mutual funds, this would be a good time to think about the risks you might be taking. If the market sells off going into or after the election, do you really want to go along for the ride? Of course, if you take some of your chips off the table and we do get a strong rally, you won't fully participate, but you might sleep better in the meantime. Here's the nugget. I'm not suggesting that you should do anything in particular, because the right course of action depends on your circumstances and your temperament, as well as your experience and ability to assess risk. What I am saying is that I think it's a good idea to think carefully about how your investments are positioned and to be sure they're where you want them to be. This is not the time to be on autopilot. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
There was a time when our biggest export on the South Coast was our people. Mills were closing, ports were quiet, jobs were scarce. Caddy McEwen rolled up her sleeves and worked with her neighbors to make things better. On the school board, Caddy worked to balance budgets fairly and make sure our kids got a quality education. On the Port Commission, Caddy McEwen helped lead efforts to rebuild our infrastructure, like the Coos Bay Rail Line, so we could develop our economy. Thanks in large part to Caddy McEwen's leadership, 1.5 million tons of cargo move through the port every year. And we're adding new, high-wage marine jobs that can support a family. In the State House, Caddy McEwen keeps leading, investing in job training programs, helping create the Oregon Promise to make community college free for deserving students, and standing up for seniors with tougher laws to crack down on fraud and abuse. State Representative Caddy McEwen, she's always working for us.
Paid for by Caddy McEwen for Representative.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
When you're a sports writer like me, you know, speed always wins.
And now they're side to side coming around the final turn.
Because old news isn't news at all, especially when the 24-hour news cycle is now more like 24 seconds.
What are these guys looking to create some space?
But with slow internet from the phone company, you're stuck, watching spinning wheels and progress bars till someone else scoops your story.
Making his move down the stretch.
Comcast Business has speeds up to 10 gigabits per second.
Breaking for the checkered flag.
Look, you wouldn't pick a slow race car, a slow wide receiver, or a slow point guard. Then why settle for slow internet? Call 800-501-6000 today. Comcast Business. Built for speed, built for business.
Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary and are not guaranteed. 10 gig service may not be available in your area. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Call for details.
Celebrate National Sandwich Day at your local Subway with the Good Deed Feed. On November 3rd, buy any Subway sandwich and drink and get another sub free. Plus, Subway will donate another meal to Feeding America. November 3rd is National Sandwich Day, and you can help feed America by eating at Subway.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are falling as investors are evaluating earnings. Pfizer dropping after its quarterly profit missed estimates following weak sales from older drugs like pain medication Lyrica. On the other hand, the luxury handbag maker Coach signaling that its turnaround is making progress, forecasting that sales will still gain despite a tough environment. Meantime, Gannett has walked away from its pursuit of LA Times and Chicago Tribune publisher Trunk. The USA Today owner has been trying to buy Trunk to create a company with a scale to compete more aggressively with online news sites. Newspapers have been feasting on each other as they deal with declining circulation. The number of millennials seeking prenups is on the rise nationwide, and it's their thoughts and ideas that couples want to protect in case of a bitter breakup. Prenups requested by millennials aim to protect intellectual property like software, apps, and even ideas for technology concepts that have yet to be executed. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing Obamacare.
And as open enrollment starts today with rising health premiums, Donald Trump will rail against Obamacare at a rally in Pennsylvania about to start this hour. Later, he'll go to Wisconsin, one of 4 states where early voters can change their vote. Today's the last day to do so in Minnesota. Hillary Clinton will campaign in Florida, continuing to say there's no case, as the FBI probes of new emails found are related to her using a private server while Secretary of State. 6 people are dead after two buses collided this morning in Baltimore. Another 10 passengers were injured. Fox's Rachel Sutherland has more live.
Dave, Baltimore police say a school bus was on the way to pick up a child when the driver hit a car and then a pillar, and then continued on into oncoming traffic, striking the commuter bus, killing 5 people on board.
Basically ripped the entire driver's side off of the vehicle. It literally looks like a bomb exploded in the bus.
Baltimore police spokesman T.J. Smith says there were no children on the school bus. The driver of that school bus was killed. Dave.
Jared, Rachel, we just learned 3 people were killed last night when a pickup truck slammed into a Halloween hayride during trick-or-treating in Chunky, Mississippi. A mother, her 2 daughters, an 8-year-old and a girl who was just 2. Game 6 of the World Series is tonight. Fox's Jared Max live at Cleveland's Progressive Field.
A 68-year drought, Dave, may end tonight. The Cleveland Indians' last World Series victory was 1948. A win over the Cubs tonight here at Progressive Field would give the city of Cleveland its 2nd straight major pro sports title since June. This after the Cleveland City had gone 52 years without a championship before the Cavaliers won the NBA title. Pitching matchup for game number 6 of the World Series, Josh Tomlin for the Indians, Jake Arrieta for the Cubs. The designated hitter is back in the American League Park. First pitch 8:08 tonight on Fox. At Progressive Field in Cleveland, Jared Max, Fox News.
Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
You probably don't think about your neck much until it hurts. With stresses such as poor posture, tension, muscle strain, or injuries from accidents or sports, it's no wonder your neck is at risk for pain and injury. The physicians at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the cause of your neck problem through a physical exam and diagnostic tests. Then, they'll determine the best course of treatment for you through improved self-care, physical therapy and exercise, medication, or surgery.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
The polls still haven't fully measured the effect of the FBI's reopened probe into Hillary Clinton's emails, but one daily tracking poll has Donald Trump with a slight lead, and it shows since the announcement, Democrats may be less enthused with Clinton.
Donald Trump was behind 12 points, 50-38, when ABC began its tracking poll back on the 23rd. Today, he takes the lead, 46-45, over Hillary Clinton. It's still very close, within a single point, but one of the really significant numbers that the poll found was the enthusiasm gap between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Thursday and Friday of last week, Donald Trump led 53-51, so negligible difference. This morning, he leads 53-43.
Fox's John Roberts. Drivers in the Southeast may be worried about gas prices spiking up again, like in September when a leak shut down a gas pipeline. That pipeline's been cut off again after an explosion in Alabama killed a worker and 6 others were injured. The protests continue in North Dakota, days after numerous arrests trying to block an oil pipeline.
The North Dakota Emergency Commission votes today on whether to borrow $4 million from a state-owned bank on top of the $6 million the state previously borrowed for law enforcement costs. The state has asked the federal government to cover the additional costs amid environmental protests over the $3.7 billion four-state pipeline. Last week, officers in riot gear forced hundreds of protesters off private property, prompting some demonstrators to torch 3 vehicles. Native American leaders are also deciding whether they'll meet tomorrow with the pipeline's operator, Texas-based Energy Transfer Partners. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Americans bought fewer Chevys and Dodges last month. GM's U.S. sales dropped nearly 2%. All brands but Buick saw declines. Fiat Chrysler's drop was even bigger, a 10% reduction compared to last October. Ford delayed its sales release because of a fire at headquarters yesterday. On Wall Street, the Dow's down 19 points. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Hey, it's 11:20 KPNW. Welcome in Tuesday, November 1, 2016, with some clouds mixed in with a little bit of sunshine and a high of about 62 degrees. All in all, not a bad day. 51 currently at 11:20 KPNW. And if you're headed up the Highway 58, a little bit past Willamette Pass, milepost 63, 18 miles east of McCready Springs. Got a crash there that not really affecting anything as far as a delay, This might be one of those things where you just need to be on the ready. Don't want to cause anything additional, but that's about it. And I think in our immediate vicinity, and that's a nice thing to have to chat about. Megyn Kelly, by the way, is according to Vanity Fair, has an offer on the table, $20 million from Fox News. Hasn't quite signed on the dotted line, maybe exploring other options, trying to see what else is out there, except there's not a lot out there, according to an ABC source. He says, I don't believe anyone is pursuing her other than Fox at this point. You look at CNN, you look at CBS, she got kind of her niche. $20 million would not be, it's not like you're having to sacrifice anything. Although, if I'm Fox and haven't seen the love on her behalf, and she's testing the waters, all of a sudden that $20 million reads like maybe half that. You want to keep her happy, but that $20 million stays $20 mil.
You mean CNN hasn't contacted her to replace Donna Brazile? I'm surprised. Hey, look, we got rid of Donna Brazile, and maybe you'd like to come over and join us over here at CNN, cable news network that has high ratings only because we're in airports. Would you like to come over and join us, Megan? Please, please. We just had to get rid of Donna Brazile. It'd be nice if you came over, please. Buy you a burger. I'm thinking that's what they ought to do.
Think so?
Yeah.
CBS.
Did you have heard about the whole thing with Brazile, right? And feeding Hillary debate questions before the debate, which she was not supposed to do. Oopsie, got my hands hurt. Oh, no. Oops. I did a bad
Hand
thing.
in the cookie jar. How many is that? Yeah,
I'm surprised that CNN fired her, to be honest. I really am. That shocks me that they did. It's like, wow.
Even too blatant for them.
Yeah.
Even too blatant.
She'll probably get a job with ABC, probably working with George Stephanopoulos.
Coming up, Julie, Lucky Paws, maybe add to the family. If everything's got you just kind of keyed up and you need to decompress, a pup in the house will do that like no other human. George Rohde, Auto House, Euro Asian Stadium. It's all about the automobiles. And if you have a question, if there's anything that maybe another mechanic gave you a little diagnosis that you'd like a second opinion, come and get it. Rohde on the way. And News 2 coming up on 1120 KPNW at 8:08.
Burrito Amigos is a big deal when it comes to big meals. Have you ever gone through ordering or putting together a big lunch or breakfast at the office, maybe a school or civic organization? It's a hassle. A lot of times, if you're feeding a large group, you have to go off a limited special menu, and you also have to pay a big special price, and you have to order it a month in advance. Then there's the extra charge for warming trays and chafing dishes. You get the picture. Here's the way Burrito Amigos works it. You can order anything you want to off of their menu. They'll loan you the chafing dishes and warming trays, and you can get up to 500 burritos with just a couple of days' notice. You can walk in the day of and order 50 burritos. Burrito Amigos will make sure you get what you want so you can have it the way you want it. Give Larry at Burrito Amigos a call, and he'll make sure you look good while Burrito Amigos does all the work. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield. They take the big hassle out of big orders, so you're the big hero. Burrito Amigos.
Ductless. It's an option, but it's not your only option. Contact Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer, to explain the problems with your home or business's heating and cooling system. Turn to the experts, and their professional staff will listen and offer you a good, better, and best solution for your heating and cooling system that addresses your needs. Let them make you Pacific Air comfortable with new Carrier equipment. Pacific Air Comfort. Quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Oregon's game Megabucks jackpot is over $5 million. Buy yours today.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. Let's look at the news, or if you will, if you're in Germany, Guten Morgen. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. After a near riot and complaints from citizens who say they feel threatened just walking through downtown Eugene because of outgoing Mayor Kitty Piercy's so-called travelers, Eugene police announced Monday that its officers will have a much more noticeable presence, particularly in the park blocks.
Criminal conduct in the park had become more entrenched over the summer, and the park was no longer welcoming to everybody. And the goal for our downtown has been to make it safe for everyone, regardless of economic status, housing status, and we had not achieved that. The park did not feel safe to everyone.
Eugene Police Chief Pete Kearns held a press conference Monday afternoon laying out EPD's future enforcement plans.
What we decided to do is to put together a operation where we're putting officers in the park enough so that it can be safe for our officers and so that it can be made to feel safe for anyone who wants to visit the park. And that doesn't exclude anyone. Anyone who wants to visit the park who's willing to be there and obey the law.
The increased police presence began yesterday with 4 to 6 officers assigned to the park blocks across from the Lane County Courthouse. Now, the officers are in addition to the normally assigned downtown patrol unit, so if the group that normally gathers in the park blocks decides they're going to relocate to another area, the downtown team will still be able to handle it. Kern said the move comes after an increase of criminal behavior in the park and a group of people who've been attempting to intimidate Eugene police officers in the area, asking officers why they're in, quote, their park, and even going so far as challenging officers to fight.
A week ago, we had an incident in the park where officers attempted to make an arrest when they observed a drug transaction. And one of those arrests led to a fight where a subject was taken into custody, captured on video, and people engaged in riotous type of behavior.
Kern said the focus is to ensure everyone that goes there can be welcome and safe.
We're not there to displace people, but we are there to ensure that folks are not intimidated by the behavior of others, and so they can feel safe, and also to enforce the law if necessary.
The chief is especially concerned about the young people who are living in the streets in the area and is going to use the increased presence to offer them help, including mental health services through Cahoots and other social services. Well, a transient is facing charges after allegedly stealing from a public memorial. Springfield police arrested Travis Clausen, a 35-year-old, on Sunday after he was seen running into traffic away from a memorial on 54th and Main. The memorial is for 3 children that were hit and killed by a vehicle at the intersection in February of 2015. Clausen was confronted by citizens who witnessed him throwing rocks at the memorial and stealing money and a teddy bear. A woman also accuses Clausen of threatening and menacing her when she confronted him. Clausen was lodged at the Springfield Municipal Jail on charges of abuse of a memorial to the dead, menacing, theft, and disorderly conduct. He was also arrested in 2015 when he disrupted a candlelight vigil at that memorial. Rental bikes are coming to Eugene under a $1.2 million contract between the city and a New York-based company called Social Bicycles. The city's going to buy the bikes, customized locking bike racks, and other items from the rental company. In return, Social Bikes will run the rental system and keep the bikes maintained for 5 years. Eugene secured a state subsidy that'll pay for most of the equipment, including the bikes, which cost, wait for it, $1,870 each. The program is scheduled to start by October of 2017 with 300 bikes 300 bikes, and 35 stations. People can rent the bikes for short trips and return them to the self-service stations, according to Reed Dunbar, the city's associate transportation planner. Local businesses, according to Dunbar, have already begun calling the city, asking for bike stations to be placed near them. Rental rates are set by Social Bikes. The company says it hasn't determined the price for the Eugene system. Portland launched a similar bike program in July called Bike Town. It also contracts with Social Bicycles. Lane County Elections and Metro Television has created a brief video to show Lane County voters how their ballots are verified and processed after their return to the elections office.
How do we, one, verify that that ballot is correct as far as ensuring that it's a registered Lane County voter and that they filled it out correctly, and then how do we actually count that ballot? How do we ensure that every voter's votes are counted in the process?
Devin Ashbridge with Lane County says the video is online.
The easiest way to find it is youtube.com/Lane County Government. They can also see it on our Facebook at facebook.com/Lane County Government.
Ballots, by the way, need to be in 8 p.m. next Tuesday night. The leader of a federal wildlife refuge takeover in Oregon says his group's going to continue to stand after he and 6 others were acquitted last week of charges in the case. Emmett Bundy, in a phone call from the Multnomah County Detention Center, said that it was their duty to stand. Bundy said that they did it peacefully and legally, and the jury's verdicts confirmed that. Bundy also said the trial ended in, quote, another example of the government not following its own laws. That was when U.S. Marshals arrested his attorney for challenging the judge's order to keep him in custody. He called for prosecutors to drop charges against other occupiers set for a February trial on the same conspiracy charge. Bundy remains in jail because he still faces charges in the standoff at his father's Nevada ranch. Bundy says he expects he and his brother Ryan will be moved to Nevada today. A 2-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl were shot by their father, 27-year-old Zach Davis. Davis called 911 just after 8 yesterday morning, telling dispatchers he was hunting in the area of Green Peter Dam east of Sweet Home when he accidentally fired his gun at his truck.
Coming back to the pickup, and when he was real close to the pickup, had an accidental discharge with his .30-30 rifle. The bullet entered the pickup through the driver door. The 3 kids were sitting in the back seat. The bullet struck 2 of the kids in the leg, causing one of them to break, and one of them there was a metal in her leg.
Under Sheriff Jim Yawn of Lynn County says medics took the boy by helicopter to Randall Children's Hospital at Legacy Emmanuel in Portland, where he is listed in fair condition. The boy will survive that injury. The 4-year-old daughter was taken to a Corvallis hospital. She had surgery there, removing a metal fragment. The investigation into the incident continues. Davis's father and 6-year-old son were also on the hunting trip. Fortunately, they weren't hurt. Oregon's 7 public universities installed independent governing boards over recent years, but the schools soon discovered their newfound independence only went so far. A 2013 state bill set universities on the path to independence, giving the schools the ability to manage their own money. But a provision in the state constitution doesn't allow them to do that. You see, the Oregon Constitution forbids all state agencies, including four-year schools, from investing in, quote, the stock of any company, association, or corporation. Independent foundations working with universities have that right, but the schools themselves can't invest tuition dollars or state appropriations in the stock market to raise money for programs. But Measure 95 comes along on the fall ballot. It would change that. Oregon lawmakers voted overwhelmingly this year, mostly along party lines, to review or refer the proposal to voters. University systems in California, North Dakota, Wyoming, Nevada, and New Mexico have similar abilities. No one has filed an official argument opposing the measure. The University of Oregon says it would likely invest about $50 million from about its $400 million in operating funds. That according to Jamie Moffitt, Vice President for Finance and Administration. If approved, the school would develop and provide quarterly reports to the Board of Trustees at the U of O, outlining the types of investments and the amount of money invested. Moffitt said the U of O will likely contract with the investment staffers at the foundation, which oversees the school's endowment, to manage that account. Election Day is 1 week away, and Oregonians will decide whether Kate Brown keeps the job that she lucked into. Brad Ford has that story.
Governor Kate Brown and her Republican challenger Bud Pierce held 5 debates. Pierce says he's enjoying this part of the campaign.
It's more exhilarating because really most of the hard work is behind you. The issues are there. We've debated them. We've argued them. The voters have their ballots. So it's kind of a fun time right now.
Pierce expects it'll be difficult getting college students to vote for him, but he believes millennials are looking for an option.
The millennials are an interesting group, especially because they don't like tradition, and so I have a good outreach to them.
Governor Kate Brown is running to finish the term of Governor John Kitzhaber, who resigned. Whichever candidate is elected will complete the final 2 years of the term and could run for a full term in 2018. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
It's 8:21. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
In an announcement from South Eugene High School and Athletic Director Dave Hancock, the South Eugene football team is forfeiting the rest of the season, which equates to the first game of the 6A playoffs. In a press release, Hancock cited not enough players to fill the varsity team as the reason. As of yesterday, only 21 varsity players, including 6 linemen, were out. Injuries have hit the Axemen hard, including 4 season-ending, and head coach Kevin Leonard and his staff did not want to risk further injuries by moving up freshmen and sophomores. They don't have a JV. Defending state champs Jesuit benefits as they become the first team to advance automatically to the second round in 6A playoffs. NFL Jay Cutler back, and that's good for the Chicago Bears. Who saw this? 5-1 Minnesota playing 1-6 Chicago. Cutler, not exactly sizzling sharp, but enough for the win, 20-10 over the Minnesota Vikings. Another team from Chicago, the Cubs, will be embroiled in the World Series tonight. Game 6 from Cleveland. The Cubbies are down 3-2. If it does go a Game 7, former M, Corey Kluber, would go for the Indians. Klubot played in Eugene back in 2008. College baseball, former ESPN 5-star quarterback and Alabama transfer Blake Barnett is set to visit Oregon and Pac-12 foe Stanford on November 12th. He is not committed, just looking at the program. He was the nation's #1 quarterback back in the day, elected to transfer from Bama as a redshirt freshman after losing the starting spot. They're in Bama with Nick Saban. Winners in the NBA last night, Raptors, Clippers, and Hawks. Tonight, the Blazers entertained the Warrior All-Stars. Both teams are 2-1. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW, brought to you by Max Muscle. Don't get sold, get educated on Franklin across from Market of Choice. News time 8:23.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, I am tracking a few pockets of patchy dense fog off and on out there, as well as a few spots of light misty drizzle, but otherwise partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. As we move into the afternoon hours, we're going to see partly cloudy skies, maybe becoming mostly sunny as a pocket of high pressure slides up from California. That's going to help the highs climb back into the upper 50s to low 60s with winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. We're actually looking at a drying pattern over the next few days. I am tracking a storm system set to bring showers and clouds back to the region Wednesday night, but then Thursday and Friday look pretty good with mostly sunny skies before another wet system arrives for your weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Does your home or business have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Discover why Ramjack is the only foundation company you'll ever need. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Choose Ramjack. CCB 146906.
It's fall. That can mean football weather or a blazing heat wave, depending on what Mother Nature has in mind. Don't sweat Mother Nature's moodiness. Talk to the home comfort specialists at Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal for help. They have advanced heating and cooling systems from Lennox that can keep your home perfectly comfortable, no matter what's going on outside. And right now, Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal is offering up to a $1,600 rebate and 9.99% financing on a qualifying new Lennox system. That's up to a $1,600 rebate on an innovative, highly efficient heating and cooling system that can put you in control of your home comfort and your monthly utility bills. So seize the day. Call the experts at Beamer Heating and Sheet Metal right now at 541-688-5004. That's 541-688-5004. 888-688-5004 or visit them online at beamerheating.com. License number 4483.
You've heard me talk about glutamine and how important it is for your body. It repairs every cell in the human body, giving you overall optimal health. It's odorless, tasteless, and flavorless. Stop by, give it a try. You won't taste a thing. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard in Eugene.
When you need painting, you want the best. Fitzpatrick Painting. Don't settle for less.
Specializing in house repaints, interior and exterior, and commercial buildings, Fitzpatrick Painting also provides a full line of carpentry services and so much more. Experience the difference. Find them at fitzpatrickpainting.com for your free estimate and more information.
Fitzpatrick Painting. Unsurpassed in customer service and quality.
Those ads pushing a yes vote on Measure 97's tax on sales remind me of an old saying.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
That if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Oh, you mean because the ads promoting 97 try to make people believe putting a tax on sales won't increase consumer costs?
Yeah. 97 would put this huge new $6 billion state tax on sales of food, gas, electricity, medicine, and almost everything else.
And the state of Oregon's own study showed 97's tax would cost a typical family like ours $600 a year.
Right. And the ads pushing 97 also want us to believe the money would go to education.
Yeah, well, we've heard that one before, huh?
Yes, we have. And the truth is, since 97 is not a constitutional amendment, the politicians could just spend the money however they want, as usual.
Well, that's another good reason to vote no on Measure 97's $6 billion tax on sales.
Agreed. No on 97.
Paid for by Defeat the Tax on Oregon Sales.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning to you. The Wake Up Call at 8:27. News Radio 1120 KPNW. There's a dog in our window.
Betty.
How much is that dog in the window?
Betty.
Betty's here with Julian from Lucky Paws. Wow. Hello. Well, a little different. I need a mic.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
hi, Betty.
Did we get me?
There she is.
There we go. So Betty
Look at Betty
is about 4 years old, and you know everybody comes in for puppies. So she's been there week after week after week. We got to get Betty adopted.
Betty is just like, hi, how are you?
She's so excited.
She's just, oh my gosh.
She is happy to be out. So Betty's only issue is that she will chase and catch cats. So,
chase and catch
yeah,
them.
her first
Catch and release?
We don't know. We didn't get that far.
Okay,
but her first foster had a cat, and Betty did not do well with that cat. So then she ended up having to go into the store, and nobody will foster her because they all have kitties. So, I mean, she is like a true terrier, wire-haired terrier. If you live out in the country and you have rodents that you want to get rid of.
And you have the terrier energy.
Yes.
Making the rounds.
Terrier personality. Oh, yeah. Hi.
I don't, you know, the shelter called her a border terrier mix. I don't know what she is, honestly.
I like her. She's awesome.
Oh, she's going to do
dog.
some computing, and now it's your turn.
Whoa. Whoa.
She's got a lot of energy.
Wow.
Hi.
And she's just a medium-sized dog, so she'll fit in your house well.
I love the terriers have number one, they're really smart. And number two, they're just like energy. Yeah. It's energy time.
How's she with other dogs?
She needs to meet them first. She can be bossy, but she's actually good with other dogs. So if you have another dog with this kind of energy, you're going to be great. If you have a dog that can't handle that energy, she's going to boss them around. That's what we've been seeing. So, I mean, she has friends at the store that we put in with her that she's fine with. So she bosses the puppies around. She's not going to put up with that. But, I mean, she's just the cutest little thing.
She might be the most sociable dog you've ever brought in here.
We've had a couple, but yeah.
She's like a politician.
She's
working
a
the
good
room.
girl.
Yeah, except she makes eye contact.
That's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And answers most of the questions.
She's okay.
Yeah.
She.
How long have you had her?
Oh gosh.
Her face is awesome.
Thinking probably at least a month.
I love her face.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man.
She's just sees all the other dogs come and go, all her friends, and she's still there.
All right, let's get down to some nitty gritty here. Is she? I mean, did she come when called? If you take her outside, because I mean, I look at her and I go, oh man, she would be so fun to take on a walk.
The lady who has been going in and walking her every day absolutely loves her. She's had a ball with her. She takes her down to the river when it's not pouring. She said she wants to chase every bird she sees, but you know, it's just all this energy. Once she gets out and is in a home and is running and
Okay, but you didn't answer my question. Does she come when called?
Well, we haven't let her off leash. I mean,
okay, all right.
Outside.
Secondly, housebroken.
She is housebroken.
Does she have any obedience training?
I have no idea, other than what we've been doing.
She gets knocked over.
Yes, as
I'd
the
say
dog
no.
tackles Julie.
I would say no.
Betty?
We work on it when we're walking her,
Betty.
but I mean, when I walked her around before we brought her, because I brought her out and took her around to go to the bathroom, she was so excited she wanted to just take off. And just a couple little tugs on the leash, and she was right by my side and listening. She's smart.
And she's a terrier, of course
She's
she
so
is.
happy to be out.
God.
It's hard when they're stuck in the store and not, you know, in a home environment. But we can't get a foster that doesn't have a cat, or a bird.
She needs about a 12-year-old.
She needs
a 12-year-old.
She could definitely use a yard where she gets to run and play, and probably a jogging partner.
Yeah, and a 12-year-old.
I would say she has that energy, and she's tough. She's a terrier.
She's a mixture of something. I don't know.
She is, yeah. I mean, she looks like a big Cairn Terrier to me, because Cairn Terriers are little. But that's the scruffy hair. She was groomed by PetSmart. This is her look.
See, I just love the fact that she does. She just looks goofy. She looks kind of like, you know,
a silly girl.
is constantly having a bad hair day. Exactly. And I think that's appealing about her.
They don't shed very much when they have this hair.
She doesn't just prop herself up. I mean, she literally hits you in the chair with impact.
She wanted to see somebody Saturday at PetSmart that wasn't coming over to say hi, and she just flew up and over the pen to go see him.
Yeah, she looks like she could probably have a pretty good vertical leap.
Yeah.
Hey there. Hey, Betty.
She stayed in, I mean, the whole day. It was like the end of the day, and there was somebody she had to go meet.
No, stay out of there.
Maybe she thought she recognized him. I don't know. There we go. She can sit. She has the basics down. I mean, she's the kind of dog that, you know, you can work with her. She's not mean or anything.
I love the pose that she just had when last time she came over on the side of the room. She propped herself up on the window and kind of arched out her chest, and almost as if to say, "Here I am, world."
I know. Oh yeah, she heard you.
She's very confident.
She's coming back. Very confident.
Is it my turn?
She's a funny girl. She needs a home, so definitely check out Betty on
She's adorable.
Pet Finder. Yeah.
Just oozes personality.
She's a nice girl. I mean, how could it be any worse when you take out a dog that just wants to go meet everybody?
You on the board?
That's the best kind.
I love she just has just a great look. She just is a classic.
She wants to crawl in your lap.
You're in love, aren't you, Rob?
She is pretty cute.
Yeah, she is adorable. I like her too.
She's a happy girl.
There she goes.
She would love to get into
She can move. I mean, she's definitely She's definitely got wheels.
Back and forth, back and forth.
She rolls.
Don't go down there.
She's a funny girl.
Is she a chewer?
No.
No?
You know, her kennel was completely clean. We have them set up like little rooms, and she had a friend next door who tore theirs apart, and hers was totally clean, didn't go to the bathroom. She waited to be taken out this morning, so, she was let out probably last time about 8 o'clock last night.
Total Felix Unger.
And 8 o'clock this morning when I got there, and it was totally clean. She's a good girl.
Are you a good girl? You need a good house.
She needs a good house.
Family, big yard, and no kitties to chase.
No kitties. That's the only thing. I mean, that's
Aww.
not every dog, she just has a strong prey drive. I would guarantee squirrels, birds.
I bet if you had a barn with mice and rats.
Oh, she'd take them out.
It would be on hell on wheels.
She would. She would take care of them.
Oh, my God. A farm?
Yeah.
She would be awesome.
It would be great with her as long as
to
she...
tour anybody that doesn't have a farm.
Oh!
And she's on the counter.
Oh, my gosh.
She's actually on... That was a pretty good leap.
That was... I'm impressed. Here, just wait a second here. Hi. So, what in the hell are you doing?
That
never
was
had a dog
effortless.
What if you're watching, this is probably the most excitement we have ever had on the stream. This is.
She didn't want to go through me again.
No,
I
she
guess.
didn't want to go through her around. It's just like, I can just go over the top. Okay.
Don't spill that.
She's on the counter,
Come here.
tail wagging. Now everybody's freaking out, thinking she's going to fall. Oh, jeez. There goes the leg.
There goes everything. she comes right back.
Turn the mic down while we get it readjusted. All right. She's literally brought the house down.
The dog has done a mic drop, is what has happened.
And then sat on it.
Betty has totally mic dropped it.
Oh, boy. Betty.
She is awesome.
Call her. See if she comes.
I did it a couple times. Betty, come here, Betty. Betty, Betty, come here, Betty.
That way.
Betty.
There, she
Betty.
heard. Yeah, there she goes.
Here, Betty. Oh.
She just had to hear you first. Oh my gosh. Well, now we know the energy level.
Yeah, she can actually.
Is that amazing in all the years that we've never had a dog do that?
Nobody's ever done that. I know. I mean,
She's got a couple of firsts.
got anybody out there who wants to do agility? This is your dog.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, no kidding.
You need like a 7-foot fence.
Exactly. I mean, that was just an effortless.
Bad hair and leaping ability, two things that I don't have. Wow.
Goofy girl.
All right, so what else? What else do we need to know about the shelter? What's going on this weekend? Anything?
PetSmart on Saturday again, and we've got a few puppies coming available. Some cute little puppies. Just like always, we have a couple adults. We've got a little Shih Tzu that, good Lord, we'd have him. This little, those little dogs go like crazy. Hey, and we've had him for 2 or 3 different adoptions now, and he hasn't gotten adopted. He's only a year old, nice little dog. So if you're looking for a little lap dog and a little more excitement and a running partner, come on, see us at PetSmart, 12:30 to 4, Saturday.
This is the only time we've ever had a dog in the studio that has left Julie totally breathless.
I know.
In the studio.
She not only took out the microphone, then she sat on it. She sat and was,
Right on.
reverse sneeze. Come here.
All right. Well, if you want to see pictures of Betty, you can go to Lucky Paw's site on Facebook. That's SITE. Your website is luckypawsite.org.
Yep.
Luckypawsite.org. And you can find out more about this very active, entertaining, totally personable dog. Oh, my gosh.
I'd take her to my house, but I have the one from last week at my house. She'll be there a while.
Keep us posted, all right?
Yeah, definitely.
We love Betty.
Even if you want to just come and foster her.
840.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. America's factories barely expanded last month as faster production cushioned a slowdown in orders that signaled a plodding manufacturing sector. This is according to a report from ISM. We are seeing stocks move lower in trading. Kellogg beat quarterly estimates and raised its forecast after cost cuts helped it overcome slow sales. The Special K and Frosted Flake maker is trying to navigate a slump in cereal sales, but the company has also gotten a boost from Pringles. McDonald's agreed to pay $3.75 million to hourly workers at 5 California franchise restaurants who claim that they were systematically underpaid overtime and other wages. The agreement might encourage other McDonald's workers and fast food employees at other chains to consider filing similar lawsuits. Ford has reached a tentative agreement with workers in Canada that includes investment to help ensure the future of an engine plant in Windsor. The deal has Ford investing $522 million over the life of the agreement. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
I'm Jeremy. And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call, the one means no matter what the problem. From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, co-host of Real Estate Today. Kurt Large and Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company if I need to understand a roofing system, how to maintain the roof, should it be replaced, and if it is to be replaced, what should be done. He is absolutely the expert's expert. Evergreen Roofing is my go-to company.
To find out more about Evergreen Roofing, just go to their website, evergreenroofing.com.
Live from the Widmer Brothers Studios, it's the Wake Up Call with Rob Holloway and me, Bill London, every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9. Click on the Wake Up Call logo at KPNW.com and hear and see the latest news as well as interviews with local, regional, and national newsmakers. It's the Wake Up Call. It goes down easy, like a Widmer ale.
Hunting season is starting up, and Oak Grove Guns has what you need to make your hunt successful with a wide selection of shotguns, scopes, laser sights, and ammo. And if you need protection, now's the time to swing by and see Dave and Nick. They have an overstock of used handguns, all in good condition, and now every used handgun is being discounted by $25. Oak Grove Guns is the local family-owned gun and protection shop that can help you find the product that suits your needs. Oak Grove Guns, proud to supply products to responsible gun owners.
When you're celebrating 50 years of America's music, everybody shows up.
Let's do it. Come on.
The 50th CMA Awards on ABC with performances by Keith Urban, Miranda Lambert, Luke Bryan, plus an epic duet with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, a show-stopping tribute to Dolly Parton, and be there for the first 8 minutes when we make country music history.
Are you guys ready?
Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood host the CMA Awards live Wednesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Neighborhoods all over the country are on high alert after another one has gone missing. Taylor Alloway is on the scene.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the criminals remain at large. I spoke with the police moments ago.
96 elephants are lost every day. We just don't have enough of a force to protect them all against poaching.
At the rate they're disappearing, there will be no elephants left to lose in 10 years.
And that's a crime against us all. Stop the ivory trade. Fight the crime. Go to 96elephants.org.
News, information, 24/7 on News Radio 1120 KPNW. KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, I am tracking a few pockets of patchy dense fog off and on out there, as well as a few spots of light misty drizzle, but otherwise partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. As we move into the afternoon hours, we're going to see partly cloudy skies, maybe becoming mostly sunny as a pocket of high pressure slides up from California. That's going to help the highs climb back into the upper 50s to low 60s with winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. We're actually looking at a drying pattern over the next few days. I am tracking a storm system set to bring showers and clouds back to the region Wednesday night, but then Thursday and Friday look pretty good with mostly sunny skies before another wet system arrives for your weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
The top stories and the most in-depth local coverage.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening and dancing enjoyment.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
845 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Here's how big George Rohde is. He's got his trailer outside in the parking lot, and he brings the entourage today.
Yeah.
We've got the whole crew here. My wife, Janice.
Eurasian
and I
Stadium.
are
Janice.
Hey, we're heading up to Blaine, Washington, where you can get your global entry pass. It's like a TSA pre-check, but it's good for the whole Earth.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that you can just bypass the TSA?
Well,
can you just give them one of these and just walk past them? Is that
you get the shorter lines? You don't have to take off your shoes.
For how long?
It's good for 2 years.
Oh wow! You get to go to Blaine, Washington, so you can keep your shoes on.
Yeah,
for 2
Brilliant.
years.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Brilliant.
it will pay off. Yes.
Good idea. Brilliant.
Well, if you plan on doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah. So one of the things that Bill really loves to talk about is
Oh God, are we doing the check engine
the
light
check
again?
engine light again. A little bit as you get ready for winter. By the way, check engine light, enhanced scanners, expensive scanners. You can buy a $100 scanner. You can buy a $12,000 scanner, an enhanced scanner that communicates with everything in the vehicle. Shops have the good stuff, none of this $100 stuff. We so often have customers come in, you're going to charge me to check codes? Here, I have this printout from the ABC parts store. Well, they're not very, let me say, accurate, concise, and you don't get the whole story. If you can believe on some of the advanced cars now, I can say, hey, Bill, your car had 4 misses when you were going 64 miles an hour, your fuel tank was at such, and the date was such and such. I can tell you the RPMs that happened at such like that. Those are all insights to troubleshooting. And for the consumer and customer out there in radio land, we spend more time with the electronics and scanning of vehicles. For instance, I just sent 4 techs up to Portland for a weekend on BMW body controls. So all they studied was the controls that the electronics do on BMWs. And
body controls? So like what, the windows?
The windows, the seats, the air conditioning, the heating system, the entertainment system. They all go through what you call a CAN bus. And you go, what the heck's a CAN bus? Bottom line is, for instance, on taillights, they run one wire back to the taillights and then a signal wire alongside that. So the taillights are controlled by what you call the CAN bus. And most things in automobiles are controlled by CAN buses. It's a very, very complicated system. And if you don't have the proper scanner, you don't have a chance. Bottom line is, yes, you can go into your computer and control the heating, the air conditioning. You can roll up and down the windows with the scan tool. So it's pretty complicated stuff. A lot of people don't know on some of the German cars, you actually need to marry the battery to the vehicle. If you don't do that, yeah.
What is it? Wait. What do you mean by that? Marry the battery to the... Is there a chip or something in the actual battery?
You need to tell the vehicle what the amp hour of the battery is and what kind of battery it is. And if you don't do that, your alternator, now it's controlled by your body control module, will not charge the battery correctly. That is, read it as your battery may go dead, or it may overcharge the battery and ruin the battery in a short amount of time.
Okay, so let's say that, and I'm just going to throw names out here. So let's say you had a diehard in your BMW last time. Now you're putting in an interstate battery. You actually have to tell it it's an interstate battery.
Well, okay, there's different kinds of batteries for a car. You don't say it's an interstate, but is it a gel battery? Is it a flooded battery? What kind of battery is, and how many amp hours this battery, its capacity. And if you don't, we've had some batteries put in by
Other folks.
Other folks, yes, thank you. And, 3 months later, the battery's no good. It's because they didn't marry the battery to it, and it overcharged the battery.
And how exactly do you do that? Is it something that you actually have to do on the car itself, or do you have to have like some sort of secondary device?
You have to have the scan tool.
interface?
You have to have the scan tool. You get in there in the scan tool, you go to a section of the scan tool, and then you do the marriage. And some of the other German cars have some really interesting things. You buy a component to it, and you need to marry this component to the vehicle. That is, let's say you have, an idle actuator motor, idle speed control motor, or one of the control units. By the way, a lot of these cars have 7 to 8 different control units throughout the vehicle. And these particular cars, you can marry the component to it, but you can't divorce it. So once it's in your car, you cannot ever put it in another vehicle. So it gets to be real interesting.
Why would you even want to do that unless you were going down to a scrapyard or something?
You can't use used parts in this particular model of car. The control units are married forever, and once you do it, now I'm not saying if you send it into this manufacturer, they can't unmarry it and give it the ability to remarry. Saabs, one of the things they did with Saabs years and years ago, if you stole a radio out of a Saab, it was worthless unless you...
Much like the car.
They're a cult car, watch it. You could get death threats on that. So if you pulled this radio out and unmarried it first, but you've got to have the factory scan tool. The factory scan tool. Did I tell you there's a difference between them? So anyway... You've got to unmarry, and then it can be married. Some vehicles you can unmarry it and put it in another vehicle. And by the way, while we're on the subject, particularly with German cars, that happens with Japanese cars, if there is any moisture in your side of your car, get it fixed, not tomorrow, today. We had another, I would say we go through to $2,000 to $3,000 worth of control units a month. For people, water gets in because the drain plugs, gets into the vehicle, and starts ruining electronics. So you need to be real careful of that. If it's wet inside, make sure you get it fixed on any car, because water and electronics do not mix.
Good point.
Yeah.
Wait, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Water and electronics don't mix.
And particularly for those people, those who live particularly under fir trees, pine trees, and they park the car outside, those needles will go down in the front of your windshield, called the cowl area, COWL.
Like Batman.
Yeah. And get in there and start plugging the drains. All cars have drains. That's where your heating, it pulls in the fresh air right in at the bottom of your windshield, and they have a lot of drains there. You leave that stuff in there, needles, leaves, it works its way down and plugs those drains. And also, particularly needles and fur pieces will turn acidic and start eating metal.
So how do you prevent that from happening?
You just lift up your hood and you pull all that stuff out, or vacuum it out. Make sure that whole area in front of your windshield, under your hood, is cleaned out. And that's particularly for those who live or park under trees or don't garage their car at night. That's
so a couple
really
times a winter, would you say?
Well, pick it up. I mean, it takes 2 minutes to check. Lift up your hood. If it's there, pull it out. If not, don't worry about it.
Unless you have somebody to do it.
We do that at the when we're doing the service on a car. We'll vacuum those things out. Usually it takes...
I think he was referring to his 5-year-old. That's all.
Yeah.
Sid, go out, take care of the car. One thing, since we were talking about batteries and electronics and so on and so forth, if you, for instance, are going to be going on a long trip and your car is going to be, I don't know, in the garage for a month and a half or in storage or whatever, good idea or not to disconnect the battery?
Mixed blessing. My recommendation, if you have a plug-in, you go buy a battery tender. Yes, brand name battery tender. They're very good at not overcharging the battery. They go into a float state. They allow it to discharge, recharge, such like that. Battery tenders are magic in my book. They do a really good job. If you're gone for a month, don't worry about anything. If you're storing the car over the winter, get a battery tender. Make sure your fuel tank is full. It's also a really good idea before you park a car. You know, we have a lot of people with classic cars. The worst thing you can do is, you know, drive it from the garage to the barn, a very, very short trip. You want to put a few miles on it, like 20 or 30 miles before you park it, to make sure all the moisture is out of the crankcase.
Okay, and you mentioned a full tank of gas. Should you put some of the gas additive in it? Because
there's mixed stories on that. I think it's a PMA that's pissing money away, but there are some gas additives that yes, you should add if it's going to be parked during the winter. I've never done that, and I've never had a problem with that.
We're talking about the ethanol in the gas, and
right. Ethanol is a little tough on some of the systems. That's a whole other story there. But just make sure your gas tank is full, that you've warmed it up fully. If it's parked for a long time, yeah, you can disconnect your battery. But on modern cars, you lose all kinds of information that's stored in the computer if the battery's disconnected. Better yet, go down and buy a battery tender. Costco has a really, really good battery tender. It's a 3-amp, very high end. Sells for $35. If you buy it from the factory battery tender, it's $70. So you get a really good deal.
Auto House, Euro Asian Stadium in Eugene. George Rohde, the man with the plan. Have a great trip.
Yeah, thank you kindly. Thanks, gentlemen.
That's it for us. We have just enough time to let you know a little bit of cloud cover and some sun today. High of about 62. Currently 51 degrees. And we'll see you tomorrow at 6:05 right here on 1120 KPNW.
The experts at Batteries Plus Bulbs can repair your iPhone, iPad, or other mobile device. Visit us in Eugene and now open in Corvallis on 9th Street next to the grocery outlet, or at batteriesplus.com to schedule your repair.
Sitting down, reaching out, listening. There's not much of that in politics anymore. But that's what Arnie Roblin's always done. As co-speaker of the Oregon House, Arnie led a bipartisan coalition to close a $3.5 billion budget shortfall. In the state Senate, Arnie Roblin keeps bringing people together to increase education funding to $7.4 billion and support project independence so more seniors can get the home care they need. The Register Guard endorsed Arnie Roblin, saying he has an unmatched record of working with a broad range of people to better the lives of coastal residents. But what about Republican Dick Anderson? As Lincoln City Mayor, Anderson bullied his neighbors by trying to forcibly annex their houses. Dick Anderson opposed increasing the minimum wage, and Dick Anderson was against paid sick days for Oregon workers. The difference is clear: a bridge builder or a bully. Who do we want in Salem?
Paid for by friends of Arnie Roblin.
My dad was my high school wrestling coach, and he told me you never give up, no matter what the score. That's how I approach the tough fights in Congress.
Most people in Congress talk a good game, but don't get things done. Not Peter DeFazio. He delivers. Every day he gets up and fights for Oregon workers and their families.
I'm fighting big corporations who want tax breaks while they ship jobs overseas. I voted against NAFTA and every unfair trade agreement under Clinton, Bush, and Obama. And I've pushed for Buy American legislation to require the federal government to purchase products made in the U.S.
Peter DeFazio, a top wrestler in high school. He's a fighter, taking on big corporations that care more about profits than people, and Wall Street bankers who crashed our economy. Peter DeFazio is in our corner, fighting to hold them all accountable.
I'm Peter DeFazio, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message because if my wrestling opponents couldn't pin me, corporate America's not going to have any better luck.
Paid for by DeFazio for Congress.
Holloway in London and the Wake Up Call. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Another true story from Shelton Turnbull Green Solutions Printing.
I need to get uniforms for the soccer team, stat.
That's easy. Just call Shelton Turnbull. They customized everything for Phillips Soccer Club last spring.
Oh yeah, didn't they also do a custom pop-up tent and custom towels for them too?
Yeah, they sure did.
Get your team, event, or business personalized with apparel and promotional products from Shelton Turnbull. For over 90 years in the Willamette Valley, Shelton Turnbull is your quick, affordable, one-stop shop for everything print. Look for them online at stprint.com.
Do you have 30 minutes a week to make a difference in the life of a Eugene student? Join the Eugene Middle School Lunchtime Mentor Program. Be a friend. Support a middle schooler this year. Visit 4j.lane.edu/volunteers for more information.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio on Lisa Brady. Donald Trump and running mate Mike Pence just beginning a rare joint appearance for a speech on Obamacare.
Republicans across the country are coming home.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern is live in Washington.
On the first day of open enrollment for the federal health care exchange, the Trump campaign is making new premium increases a central theme of the closing argument.
America's ready for a change. I'm ready to step up and make that change happen. I hope you are too.
Texas Congressman Dr. Michael Burgess, joined by several House and Senate colleagues in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, a Philadelphia suburb that could prove crucial to Donald Trump's electoral chances next week. Trump also campaigns in Wisconsin today, where he's also eyeing an upset. Lisa.
Meantime, Hillary Clinton will be in Florida as she continues to urge voters not to be distracted by a renewed FBI email probe. But more hacked emails have just been made public. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
The latest WikiLeaks email release includes one exchange between campaign chairman John Podesta and Clinton confidant Cheryl Mills that could prove potentially embarrassing. On March 2nd of last year, Podesta sent an email to Mills writing, "We're going to have to dump all those emails, so better do so sooner than later." 2 days later, on March 4th, the Benghazi Congressional Committee issued a subpoena requiring Hillary Clinton to turn over all of her emails relating to Benghazi. FBI Director James Comey has previously said that his investigation found no evidence that any work-related emails were intentionally deleted. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The NTSB says it will investigate today's deadly collision between a transit bus and an empty school bus in Baltimore. At least 6 people killed, 10 injured. In Mississippi, a mother and 2 young daughters are the dead, 6 others in critical condition after a Jeep hit a hayride trailer on a small town highway last night east of Jackson. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
If you are behind on your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt or medical bills forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. It's not bankruptcy, it's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven. Call for your free forgiveness information now. 800-719-2090. That's 800-719-2090. Don't wait. Call 800-719-2090.
Want to invest but don't know what to do? In search of fixed double-digit rates immune to currency, real estate, and stocks? Discover the alternative asset Barron's Magazine describes as lucrative and safe. An investment immune to Fed manipulation and low interest rates. Request a prospectus guide. Call Cornerstone at 800-222-INFO. 800-222-INFO. That's 800-222-INFO.
Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles. Here's Deb Carson.
Breaking NBA news, 41-year-old Ray Allen has officially announced his retirement after 19 seasons. The two-time NBA champ leaves the game as the league's career leader in three-pointers. And in NFL news, NFL Network is reporting that receiver Percy Harvin is coming out of retirement to sign with the Bills for the rest of the season. For the remaining 8 games, he'll get $1 million plus incentives. Last night, the Bears stunned the Vikings 20-10 to win their second game of the season. And after starting the season 5-0, Minnesota has now lost 2 in a row. They remain atop the NFC North. Meanwhile, World Series Game 6 comes up tonight, 8 Eastern from Cleveland, with the Indians leading the Cubs 3-2. Josh Tomlin will be on the hill for Cleveland. Jake Arrieta on the hill for the Cubs. For a complete NBA scoreboard, check out foxsports.com.
We know Kathy Lamberg. She's been part of our community for over 50 years. The mother of 2 Iraq War veterans, Kathy Lamberg wants to improve services for veterans, including access to health care. A local educator, Kathy Lamberg will work to ensure that every child receives the education they deserve, regardless of where they live. Vote for the leader we know and trust to represent us. Vote Kathy Lamberg for state representative.
Hi, I'm Kathy Lamberg. I'd be honored to represent you in Salem. Together we can improve Oregon's schools and grow our economy.
Those ads pushing a yes vote on Measure 97's tax on sales remind me of an old saying.
Oh yeah? Which one?
That if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Oh, you mean because the ads promoting 97 try to make people believe putting a tax on sales won't increase consumer costs?
Yeah. 97 would put this huge new $6 billion state tax on sales of food, gas, electricity, medicine, and almost everything else.
And the state of Oregon's own study showed 97's tax would cost a typical family like ours $600 a year.
Right. And the ads pushing 97 also want us to believe the money would go to education.
Yeah, well, we've heard that one before, huh?
Yes, we have. And the truth is, since 97 is not a constitutional amendment, the politicians could just spend the money however they want, as usual.
Well, that's another good reason to vote no on Measure 97's $6 billion tax on sales.
Agreed. No on 97.
Paid for by Defeat the Tax on Oregon Sales.
There's a lot of things out there that we don't understand. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. And that's why I just love your program.
Kind of a messy job. Hey, somebody's got to do it, right? I'm George Norrie.
George Norrie on News Radio 1120 KPNW. It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So what's going on out there, folks? What is your take on what's going on? What I actually know is you want to know what my take is on what's going on. And, of course, I'm here to tell you. I will tell you what I think is going on. What's going on is over the top. A lot of it, on the surface, doesn't make any sense. A lot of it seems incomprehensible, and that's why I'm here to make the complex understandable. It's great to have you with us. Here's the phone number if you want to be on the program, 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. We've got some interesting polling data. eibnet.us. That's correct. We've changed the email domain, and it's lrushbo@eibnet.us. Sorry for that. Thank you for the reminder. We've got some polling data here and some interesting aspects of it that I want to tell you about. There are two long-form pieces that I want to call your attention to today. Victor Davis Hanson back with a brilliant piece about the Clintons and who they are and what motivates them. And it's a National Review Online, and I just love it because it essentially... in his own words, makes points that I have been trying to make about the Clintons since I first became aware of them in 1990. There's another piece, and this also is a piece right after my heart. It's by somebody named Thomas Frank. Now, there are two Thomas Franks. And one of the Thomas Franks is a big lib who wrote about what happened to Kansas, meaning why are people voting against their self-interest by voting against liberals and so forth. This is a Thomas Frank writing for the UK Guardian. The headline of this piece, forget the FBI cache, the Podesta emails show how America is run. I have noted on several occasions what's at stake here, the establishment, who they are, why they will do anything to hold on to power. And this piece nails it. And the brilliant aspects of this piece is that you can learn it. You don't have to tell anybody what you think. It's all there in the Podesta emails, the WikiLeaks document dump. It's all there, how these people in the establishment are devoted to the preservation of their own power and their own place within the establishment, that ideology comes a close second, that what they're really focused on is power. And anybody that has power, they will sidle up to. And it explains the unification of people from Hollywood, from Silicon Valley, from Wall Street to big finance, to corporate America, to multinational corporate world, and how it relates to the Democrat Party and the media and so forth. It's everything that I've told you. It's everything I've theorized to you about who these people are and why they're members of the establishment, what's beneficial and how you can't get in, how it's closely guarded. But the great thing about this piece is that he documents it and proves it by virtue of what the various members of the establishment are writing to each other in the Podesta email. Now, there's so much more that has been reported, for example. There are emails to Podesta from other powerful people begging him to get their kids a job, begging him to get their daughter a job or their wife a job or get them a job or get them a free flight on some Saudi billionaire's jet somewhere. And it all happens. And none of it is merit-based. It's all based on membership in this club, which, again, has nothing to do with merit. It has a little bit to do with ideology. It has more to do with your resume, where you went to school, where you work, who your parents were, legacy, things like this. But it is so well done. I'm stunned it runs in The Guardian. The Guardian's a left-wing paper in the UK, and this piece just indicts the establishment. It explains why Trump is winning. It explains why. It doesn't specifically say so, but if you read it, you'll understand why Trump has got so much support, why so many people are so fed up, because the last thing this group cares about is the country. They don't care about what's good for the country. That falls by the wayside in the wake of considerations of what's good for them. Now, none of this is a surprise in terms of that there are people like this, but this documents it, and it's extensive, and it's primarily Democrat. The Republican members are there as pets, so to speak, but they don't rank. But it's all about Republicans who want to be in this club, who want to be taken seriously, who want to be accepted. It's classic high school, except the people we're talking about are multi-billionaires. So I'm not going to take the time to read the whole thing. I may give you excerpts, but I'm pointing you to it. We'll link to it at rushlimbaugh.com. Forget the FBI cache. The Podesta emails show how America is run. And boy, is that right. And it has nothing to do, literally has nothing to do with the will of the people. It has nothing to do with what you learned in Civics 101 in junior high school. It has nothing to do with what you think the country was founded to be. That's not at all how America is run, nor who runs it. Depending on who you are and how much you think about these things, it will confirm suspicions that you've had. And it's great. It's stunning. And then the Victor Davis Hanson piece is just over the top in its brilliance at defining the Clintons for us and for everybody. It's nothing that you don't know, again. Well, some of it might be. But what it is just, it is so well crafted, and it is just dead on right. Let me give you just an excerpt paragraph from Victor Davis Hanson here. Of course, the Clintons are not only corrupt, but they are cynical as well. They accept that the progressive media, the foundations, the universities, the bureaucracies, Hollywood, Silicon Valley, honor power more than trendy left-wing politics. The Clintons well understand that their fans will, for them, make the necessary adjustments to contextualize Clinton criminality, or Clinton immorality, or Clinton amorality. Sexual predations, the demonization of women, graft, and unequal protection under the law are also of no consequence to the inbred, conflicted, and morally challenged media, who will always check in with the Clinton team like errant dogs who scratch the back door of their master after a periodic runaway wanting to be let back in. It just dissects everything that is the Clintons. Clinton Inc., Clinton Friends, how the Clintons managed to become paupers, go from paupers to multi-millionaires without producing anything, without generating anything. It's a story of Clinton grift, Clinton graft, Clinton corruption. It's everything that you know. So well crafted as to be undeniable. So those are two long-form pieces I want to call your attention to. We've got the polling data. Now let's look at some of the actual news that has been made since we were last together. By the way, Trump and Pence are in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and they are doing a joint appearance today, and they're really focusing on Obamacare. They are really staying focused on issues while all this other stuff that they have no control over, such as the Comey investigation, the FBI investigation, whatever's going on with Hillary and Huma and Carlos Danger, they're letting that play out. Which reminds me, the audio soundbites coming up, the Democrats, I mentioned yesterday that if you didn't know, you should know that they're in panic in the deep, dark crevices of power. The Democrat Party, they're in abject panic. This is not where they were supposed to be. Trump was not supposed to be a factor. The election was supposed to be over months ago. But certainly this week, it was not supposed to be in question. Hillary should have been, they're already planning inaugural balls and all the other trappings that go with victory. This is not where they wanted to be. And with the possibility Trump could win, they are in abject panic. And it's being demonstrated on TV. James Carville lost it on MSNBC. We're going to break the ban that we have on MSNBC to let you hear that. Robbie Mook, the Clinton campaign, lost it. They're all losing it out there over Comey. Now, stop and think. The Clintons themselves are responsible for sustaining this. It has nothing to do with Comey. Like there's a story in thehill.com about how Comey is going to be soon under investigation for the letter that he sent to Congress because he's violated the law. It's not how it works, folks. I hate to tell you, but it's the subject or the target of an investigation that is the focus of the investigation. In this case, Mrs. Clinton and Huma. The investigator is not under suspicion, but this is how the Clintons operate. They turned it around on Ken Starr, made him the focus with the media's assistance, and they're trying to do the same thing now with 1 week out. They're trying to do the same with Comey. The problem is, back in July, they praised Comey to the hilt. You know what Hillary should have done the minute Comey came out last Friday, when this letter was made public, Comey's letter to Congress? You know what she should have done? She could have shut all this down. She could have owned this week, because they're not going to be producing anything. Well, that's another thing. I gave you a hypothetical question yesterday that may turn out to have actually some truth behind it. But if Mrs. Clinton on Friday, or if the Clinton campaign, if Mook or whoever had said, we trust James Comey, he's already investigated this, and there isn't anything there. We've got 1 week out. We're going to continue our quest here to win the presidency. We have complete, utter confidence and faith in James Comey. I don't know what he's got, but he's already said that there's nothing there, and that's what we think is the case now, and that would have shut it down. But with her fighting it, and with her team trying to make Comey now into Satan incarnate, and with all these, hiding Huma, they have invited scrutiny. They have made it look like, oh, my God, Comey must have something or Hillary wouldn't be acting this way. There must be something there or the Clinton campaign wouldn't be reacting this way. So all of this they are bringing on themselves. All of this they have brought on themselves. None of this, I'm watching these left-wing commentators, and they're all complaining about Comey and the FBI, and they're missing the boat. If she hadn't set up this server, if she hadn't said, what difference does it make after 4 people died in Benghazi, if she hadn't been so cavalier, if she hadn't thought that laws don't apply to her, if she had not believed that she was above the law and traditions that everyday people have to follow, she wouldn't be in this mess. She's in this mess because of what she did. She is in this mess because of who she and her husband are. She's in this mess because there is evidence that they have been running a grifting operation and a graft operation at their foundation. There is evidence that she has not been completely truthful on whatever is with this email and server, and now that Huma Abedin and her husband are involved in this? You find it fascinating, as I do, that here you have a woman who portrays herself as a staunch feminist. And she represents staunch feminists. She represents the new era of feminists, being brought down by a sex pervert, married to her number 1 aide, Huma Abedin. What about the irony of that? And then you have Huma marrying the guy in the first place, and then now Huma's. I don't know how my emails ended up on my husband. It's just too rich. It's just too rich. Hillary's the most cheated on woman in America, and it's happening again right in front of our eyes. And this time it's Anthony Weiner. And his own activities, and because of his marriage. Oh, Hillary is calling Huma one of my staffers. Yes, one of my staffers' laptops is in the investigation under question of the FBI. One of my staffers. Huma Abedin is Hillary's body companion, meaning Huma is everywhere Hillary is. Huma carries out Hillary's orders and directives. Huma advises Hillary. Huma and Hillary are inseparable. She's not just one of Hillary's staffers. That's another indication here that there's something really going on. There may be something to see here. And for people that are so expert in dealing with things, they have really mishandled this. Now, let's take a look at some of the headlines that and news summaries that happened when we were last together, since we were last together. The New York Times has come out with a piece last night that says definitively there is no Donald Trump link to Russia. Now, they put it on page 21 so that New York Times readers on the Upper West Side won't see it and have their days ruined. But they still run it. You know, Zabars is not going to be damaged here by deranged New York Times readers because they won't see this. It's on page 21. However, they ran it, and it's all over their website, and it's all over the country now. The New York Times came out with a piece last night. There is no Donald Trump link to Russia. Well, now, what's going on with that? That is a major cutting them off at the knees for the Clinton campaign and Obama, who have been living off this notion that Trump knows Putin, that Trump's a friend of Putin, that Trump and Putin are behind the email dump that WikiLeaks has. The New York Times says there's no Trump link. Then we had Doug Schoen saying he can't vote for Hillary anymore. He's been around her ever since she's been in public life, and he's withstood every scandal, but this one he wants no part of, and he announced publicly on Fox he's abandoning Hillary. CNN dumps Donna Brazile after they learned that Donna Brazile's been sharing debate questions with Hillary Clinton. And the sidebar to that is, isn't it amazing how many people in the Hillary camp think she's incapable of simply answering issue-oriented questions on the fly? They have to cheat. They have to furnish her the questions. They have to let her get a leg up and maybe an advantage in preparation because they just don't trust that she's up to speed enough issue by issue to handle a question. I mean, who can't anticipate the questions? But they have to go out of their way. And here, Donna Brazile has whatever she did for Hillary Clinton has resulted in her being canned at CNN. That takes a lot. Then Obama came out via Josh Earnest and said, we totally trust Comey. We don't think Comey has done anything here to interfere with an election. We think Comey and the FBI are behaving here with utmost integrity. So, whoa! What does this mean? If you read a little further, you might also sense a warning from Obama to Comey, but I have to take a break on that aspect. I'll complete all this so we get back.
They used to get away with it, but not anymore. Thanks to Rush and the EIB network.
Somehow, the promise of a student loan and a college education has become a problem and not a solution to a better future. But there's a company now that's changed that. It's called SoFi. If you have a great credit history and a good job in paying your bills, but you're burdened with an expensive student loan, wait no more. Most people with student loan debt don't know that you can refinance federal and private student loans, but you can. SoFi is one of the few lenders that can consolidate both kinds of loans. In less than 2 minutes, you can see your new lower rate options, and it won't affect your credit score. Go to trysofi.com. That's trysofi.com. Trysofi.com. In 5 years' time, SoFi has funded over $12 billion in loans and is the #1 student loan refinancing provider. Try it. SoFi.com.
Terms, conditions, and state restrictions apply. California Finance Lender Law License number 6054612, NMLS number 1121636.
Unlike those who believe everything the drive-by media has to say is the gospel, you know the truth. You know nothing in life is free, like that free round of golf for just a little bit of your time. Yeah, but after your 90-minute, more like 4-hour tour, the timeshare hooks you worse than your drive off the 5th tee with an offer that's just too good to be true. And days later, you realize you just made a huge mistake. Why? Because you did what you said you would never do. You bought a timeshare, forked out a down payment, and financed the rest for a resort you just found a rental at on a travel site for 50% less without an ownership commitment. Ouch! It's time to call Timeshare Exit Team, 844-321-EXIT. They'll get you out safely, legitimately, and forever. Timeshare Exit Team is the leader in the industry, the company that does it right. It's time to call for a free consultation. Timeshare Exit Team stands behind their service with a 100% money-back guarantee. Call 844-321-EXIT, 844-321-EXIT, timeshareexitteam.com.
There was a time when our biggest export on the South Coast was our people. Mills were closing, ports were quiet, jobs were scarce. Caddy McEwen rolled up her sleeves and worked with her neighbors to make things better. On the school board, Caddy worked to balance budgets fairly and make sure our kids got a quality education. On the Port Commission, Caddy McEwen helped lead efforts to rebuild our infrastructure, like the Coos Bay Rail Line, so we could develop our economy. Thanks in large part to Caddy McEwen's leadership, 1.5 million tons of cargo move through the port every year. And we're adding new, high-wage marine jobs that can support a family. In the State House, Caddy McEwen keeps leading, investing in job training programs, helping create the Oregon Promise to make community college free for deserving students, and standing up for seniors with tougher laws to crack down on fraud and abuse. State Representative Caddy McEwen, she's always working for us.
Paid for by Caddy McEwen for representative.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Brad's Cottage Grove Chevy GMC. Low prices and award-winning service.
You're listening to Rush Limbaugh Now. Tonight at 8, it's Alex Jones. Only on 1120 KPNW.
I actually had a couple people email me last night, Rush, because they came across everything I just shared with you. And it looked to them like, with a question, Rush, is the Democrat Party turning on Hillary? Have they decided it's not worth it, that they can't prop her up? I mean, that's how this stuff appeared to people last night. Let me review again. New York Times. No Trump link to Russia. New York Times backs Trump, in fact, on Russia. Doug Schoen can't support Hillary. I've seen everything, and this takes a cake. I'm no longer in the Hillary camp, can't do it. You know, that's a major defection. CNN getting rid of Donna Brazil. Major, the unprecedented type things happening on the Democrat side. Obama holding with Comey. President Obama does not believe FBI Director James Comey is attempting to influence a presidential vote, according to Josh Earnest, the press secretary, yesterday. He said the president doesn't believe that he's secretly strategizing to benefit one candidate or a political party. Comey's in a tough spot, Ernest said, and he's the one. This is where the potential warning might be. Comey's in a tough spot. He's the one who'll be in a position to defend his actions in the face of significant criticism from a variety of legal experts, including people who served in senior Department of Justice positions in administrations led by presidents in both parties. They always throw that in. But despite that, hang on.
From the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. The Eugene Police Department is working to clean up the park blocks. Police increased their presence in the downtown area. They now have 4 to 5 officers along with a sergeant stationed in the park blocks and its surrounding area. Chief Pete Kern says it's not known how long the officers will have an increased presence in the area. Republican candidate for governor in Oregon, Bud Pierce, has been fighting an uphill battle against Governor Kate Brown. Pierce started with little to no name recognition. The latest polls, though, show he's getting closer.
It just gives us encouragement to keep going. I will say that polling is difficult now for all pollsters, and that's because hard to reach people, maybe 1 out of 50 will actually talk to you.
Pierce and Brown are running to complete the final 2 years of former Governor John Kitzhaber's term. A Lane County jail inmate serving time for burglary has been sentenced to an additional 5 years for his role in another inmate stabbing 22-year-old Cody Zane Britton of Springfield, and another man used a plastic toothbrush holder that had been sharpened to stab the 24-year-old victim. Bill London, KPNW.